Welcome to today's edition of Viewer Levels. We're going to begin with the first submission in the queue, which is from I Drink Windex. It is called a Playable Star. Let's just properly put that into the bot. And welcome Chai Latte as well. We just got started. It's a wide open queue. But for the time being, you are a star. Push the jump button for the on and off switch. This is a very new upload from this week. Let's see how we do. Also, I see that my sound is dead already. We tried to reset it just now. We'll fix that up very quickly. It's a bit of a glitch at the beginning of our stream sometimes. I'll just make sure we get that fixed up in case there's any custom music to listen to in this or any other levels. So just give me one moment. We'll try to get things back in order. Our audio is often a little bit glitchy at the beginning of the stream especially. We'll make sure that everything is shipshape, and we'll give this level a proper presentation. Okay, auto scroll, let's do it. You are a star, so we're going to be off screen, and I guess we're going to be hitting an on-off switch off screen. And we're going to try not to kill the star, although another one will come out of the pipe if we do, so not a big deal, as you can see. Not exactly shooting for the world record here, though. There we go. Just need to let it get a nice high bounce. And work its way down. And that's going to give me a key, so we'll just press up and go through the door. Chris Balker Gaming, welcome, and thank you for SMB Graveyard. We'll see that right after this one. Oops. Let's be careful about catching the bounces on these walls. And that seems like a bad spot to be in. And there's another key. And I'm glad you liked the commentary, Chris Balker. And let's open this up. And this is going to be a combination of the different patterns that we've seen so far in room 1 and 2. Let's let this work its way down. Nope, too far. Yeah, pretty interesting implementation of this concept. We've seen a lot of off-screen play in various manifestations before, where you scroll Mario off the screen and have him control switches, but the star pattern leads to some interesting timing challenges here and there that you don't often see. So, kind of a nice twist on this particular Mario Maker subgenre. Also, we only have 180 seconds left, so let's not be too complacent about time here. Whoops. As you can see, it's a bounce off the ceiling sometimes that catches me off guard. I'm just a little bit too slow to catch it. So we'll just try it again until we can make it back down. The first section is not too bad. It's this one here. Nope, we keep missing the correct bounce. I always expect that it's going to be the next bounce off the ceiling that's going to land in the blue zone. I'm always off by one, so we'll try to monitor that carefully and adjust before we... Nope. No, that was too soon. We do have to count bounces, or perhaps just watch the star's positioning a lot more carefully. Nope. We probably are going to hit a timeout. That's okay, we understand the concept well enough to perform a little better on the early rooms. It's this one mostly that is getting me into a bit of trouble. Nope. Yeah, 2 bounces is usually enough to get across any of those blocks, but there might be a little bit of variation to that depending on the star's pattern upon entry, but we'll just have to look at that carefully, and then we will see if we can continue. Yeah, it's 2 bounces, and then That's going to give you the key, and then that allows us to proceed. That's a wow with 80 seconds remaining, as well as a heart that we are, of course, going to activate. So we can see what's up here, THX1138, and that's going to be the axe. Thank you for that. I drink Windex. And it's early in the queue so far, so you're quite welcome to submit some more if you have some more to send me. But in the meantime, we're going to look at this new submission from Chris Balcar Gaming, which is going to test my ability to distinguish 5 from S. I punch in the code. It says, one of the less readable level codes that I've seen, just with 5SS5, if I've looked at that correctly, right at the very start. I'm sure you've encountered several errors as a viewer before. On the other hand, this is a very new level as well, SMB Graveyard. Red coins optional for easier end, and going backwards is helpful sometimes. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so here's the graveyard. We'll keep an eye out for the 5 coins. Notice the resemblance to Mario levels of the past, just with a few additional grave markers everywhere. Crosses for all of the Koopas who have fallen in battle and have not yet been revived as dry bones. That was a rather obvious spot to not touch. You also had to look at the code twice, yeah. Have to be pretty cautious about that. Anyway. We can do better than that, I'm sure. Okay, so we can actually tap these. I just want to see if it can be done, mostly. Nope. Okay, let's not mess around then. I'm sure there's probably something interesting up there, but we'll be a little more cautious. The stretch boos simply move a little too quickly back and forth for me to do much with them. Interesting transition into the underground. Definitely very much in keeping with the flow of SMB1. Especially with all these ups and downs once you are below decks. Anyway, we will of course be going for the pink coins, because optional content is never truly optional. Oh, whoops. Should have watched out for that revival. That's okay. We'll just be a little less reckless this time. Although, of course, with low ceilings in the underground part, being Super Mario might not actually be that much of a help. And we'll just make our way over. Once again. Low ceilings are almost certainly going to get me into some trouble here if I don't adjust them accordingly. With some duck jumping from time to time. Red coins make the ending super easy. Well, I like collecting optional items anyway, so I would do it regardless. Okay, that was all too close. And let's get over here so we can track where everything is. And just get out of here quickly before the dry bones become an issue. Wow, that guy caught me by surprise. That's okay. We'll go for each of the coins just to show off as much of the level as we can. And really get you a sense of what is likely to trap me. Lowering the clear rate already, it was pretty close to 50% when I opened this up, but We don't mind that too much. And that's just all part of the learning process. Oh, there we go. And we'll move on up. Tap this guy, and there we are. Nope, once again. Have to adjust to that low ceiling, and keep that in mind. I'll try to keep the mushroom a little bit longer this time. Yeah, a big part of it is just keeping an eye on when the dry bones are going to come back up. They will do their little shake. And we've just been a little too reckless about the timing, so... Shouldn't be too difficult to adjust around that, though. And we'll just try to get a little more cautious here. Nope, I was not cautious, but that's okay. Oh, yeah, the stretch boos really do come out right on top of you sometimes if you don't look carefully at where they most recently disappeared. And so, that time I just didn't really even watch out for where that one was going. I probably should have stayed off that platform until I had an idea of how that was going. So, definitely a level that rewards a certain amount of patience and caution. And we'll have to keep that in mind as we mess around with it once again. Okay. Nope. It's okay, let's just get out and make sure we know where everything is positioned. Thank you for the follow. And Just Normal, welcome back. Looking forward to your NSMB creation. Now, this is a fairly safe location as far as the ceiling goes, so we'll take that. And we'll just get on down. And this is the furthest I've made it yet, isn't it? Let's grab the mushroom. Okay, this thankfully didn't disrupt any major business. Okay, this is fairly straightforward. We just need to watch them come up and down. And yeah, this is just a matter of patience. We don't need to deal with any moving targets. SDGML, welcome. Good to see you here. And yet, here it's all about patience, as the stretch boos are not going to be moving back and forth, at least. So, not as many moving targets to deal with, which is fine by me. Let's grab the fire flower here and, whoops, immediately get whacked. I was about to say, let's not get whacked right away, but at least we know that we can go back for a power-up from checkpoint if I remember to do so. And we will get here with 3 out of 5. And, yep, of course we're doing this. We just need to wait for the stretch to get out of the way, and then this will be a little tricky here. Whoops. Yeah, the dry bones are a little bit tricky here in this location, but we'll take care of them in short order. And we'll just not get nudged by these ones either. Yeah, definitely a bit of a tight space if you're still Super Mario down below. It probably is doable, but would require a little more finesse than what I've been demonstrating. Anyway, all 5 pink coins are just in the underground segment here, so it is possible to take a key out since they're split across checkpoint, but you can always go backwards in this zone if so. So yeah, at this point though, if you die, you do lose the key, and you would need to go back to the start. But I guess the key functions as a skip for this room, which is why you were telling me that it makes the ending easier, so let's do it as a reward for our efforts. And let's touch the flag before the boo catches up to us. Thank you for the GGs. And for that matter, for the level. Yeah, it was a fun one to get under control, so. And of course, it's a pretty short queue right now, so you are, as always, welcome to throw in some more. Let's take a look at what's next. Just normal. And Astroy, welcome. Astroy giving me some kind of boss grind, I'm sure. Kingdom of Atlantis, looking forward to it. NSMB Switch, Pasta Planes 1-1. Have fun with the beginning of this adventure. Let's do it. And just normal, just so you know, if this is already stitched together as part of your super world, or traditional super worlds with really short levels, I do tend to do the levels in 15 to 20 minute batches. So I do run super worlds from the world screen if you have something that's relatively finished. That's just for future reference. I'm quite happy to play this one as is for now, of course. And yeah, we've had some people submit that way before because it makes a lot more sense, I think, for people who like to build a more traditional style pacing, so we have a better chance of actually getting through the whole thing at some point. And yeah, if we have to replay 1-1 when you resend it next time, that's perfectly fine. I don't think it'll take particularly long to get through, so given that there is the 15-minute record on this and that we are already at the end, so. Well, it definitely feels like an introductory traditional level, so that did its job. Mark that as a win and move on to whatever is next. SDGML. SDGML, I assume that we're just going to go down your list, see what is available. What have we not played? Have I actually played everything? No, we haven't. We have a relaxing day of track and field from quite some time ago. Also, I noticed my sound is dead already, so we'll try to get the sound fixed up very quickly. SDGML, we played recent ones, but I'm absolutely fine with playing the ones from quite a while ago as well. We'll catch up on your profile to the extent that we can. I see my sound is kind of glitching in and out. Let me just repair that quickly, and then we'll get right back in. Don't judge too harshly? Yeah, that's fine. We'll have a relaxing day of track and field a la Mario, and get a gold medal, a red coin in each event to win. Okay. Well, there will be a mushroom by a checkpoint eventually. Actually, very quickly. I guess that's just functioning as a power-up reset due to the nature of some events that will come in later, possibly the one involving the P-Balloon. Let's just start at the top and work our way down, unless there is something up here. No, that's the safety coin. Good thing I didn't just instinctively leap up there. Looks like we need Yoshi here. because this is, after all, an SD level, and I assume that killing Yoshi is probably not advised. I remember this part of the Olympics. It's the part where you jump on munchers. Oop. Oh, hey, we actually do ditch Yoshi. Never mind that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yoshi comes back at a later time. Yeah, he's dropped into water, so I assume that that was non-lethal. As long as he can swim. Oh, Firefly is going to follow me out. And this is going to pretend to be one of those pipes in the NSMBU series that shoots you out. No, it's not. It's going to be a series of spikes that tells you that eventually we'll have... Wait a minute. A green pipe... That looks like a door that drops you out, so... We'll see what that's all about at some other point, but I think that's probably just a platform reset. It looks like a reset for blue platforms that may have, by that point, disappeared. Especially if you do that to yourself. And there was ground. Okay, I see. I feel like it would have been safer for Yoshi to land in the water, but I guess he would sink, so... And Yoshi also has very sturdy boots. And it does not seem to have too much trouble... Oh, there is a flower check here. Does not seem to have too much trouble with landing safely. Let's reset. And this is going to blurt out a flower once again. We just need to be much more precise about the fire flower shots. And there we are. And that's just going to function as a power-up reset once again. The checkpoint recycles, and we go to the next event, which is going to be something involving the P-Balloon. Okay, we're going to obtain a power of flight, and then what happens? We just need to dodge bullets. Great. Including this one here. Not so great. Not so great. Oop. Let's go back down. And, whoa, that guy's going to whack me once again. That's okay, as long as we fly somewhat smoothly, we should generally be able to outpace any bullets that may be coming our way. You think this was your first pink coin level? Interestingly enough, you can actually make it through here. As long as we can survive the power-up check down below, which we can since we are still Super Mario. So, disaster averted. You were super excited that you had learned about a recycling checkpoint. Yeah, that is kind of a major breakthrough to level structure. It's interesting, I've known the recycling checkpoint since Maker 1, but I actually haven't published a recycling checkpoint level myself, I think. But I also haven't uploaded in quite some time. Okay, so we've hit that. I guess we just need to bounce from this point on. Oh, I see. Yeah, jump on that because of the mole, and then you throw it, and then you land on the red platform. We collect the Triforce once again, so to speak. I wonder if there's anything you can do to cheese this in fact. Let me see. Okay, more reset slash and death pipes. Yeah, I guess the mole spawns, rather the shell spawns right here, so you don't get to pick it up twice. However, if you came in here... If you came in here and you were still in the on state and you grabbed the first shell and you took it with you... no, well, we can look at it later. Anyway, let's give it a run. And, oh, there we go. That's going to trap itself. Very conveniently. And I can't go back through the door. Yes. Yeah, no, what I meant was... I'll see if I can demonstrate what I meant. Though we might have to take a death or redo the room at least to show it off. Guess we toggle the switch again, right? So Oh, I see. Okay, so we're still in the off state, so it's assuming that I know not to do this room twice. That's okay, we've got a checkpoint. And then the on-off state would reset after I come back. No, the thing I wanted to show off was this. If you start in the on state, you tap this shell, you come back. Oh, I believe the Buzzy doesn't spawn. Let's take a look. I always have to check these things to be absolutely sure. That's okay, we'll take the death here quickly and just move on. No, because, yeah, some items like helmets and such have a different logic to them. I've done enough puzzles that I think I knew how it worked, but I just wanted to be sure. Anyway, let's do the P-switch room. That will be the last one before the safety coin. This is just a matter of outpacing the P-switch. And not running into quite so many walls. I feel like I'm not going to make it. And I will not. Alright, conveyor goes all the way back. And then we do need to reset this to get the P-switch back. So, let's try it again. Whoops, no, let's just do it again. Let's not stumble right out of the gate. Okay, there we go. Bit of a jumping accuracy event here. And we'll nab that, and we are out of here. So we'll grab the safety coin up top without taking a key death unnecessarily to the left side. And we have a bonus room where we collect medals, I would think. Oh, okay. And the clouds are on top of claws, which is great because we use that to swing everywhere accordingly, including on top of this guy. And we have Red Yoshi, who gets to set everything on fire because that's what he does. Anyway, let's take some pot shots and grab some 1-ups. Not exactly a full clear here, so that's okay, close enough. And we got a star. You definitely would have done this differently by making P-switch respawn, rather, so you wouldn't need a reset room. Yeah, I mean, you definitely learned quite a lot about the game, technically, in the past 2 years, I would bet. I think whenever somebody goes back to old levels, they definitely rethink things with the knowledge they have acquired since. Now, what's down here? Just... okay, nope, blocks in water. Whoops. Totally missed a claw, but that's okay. That's the ending. Astroy is next. And thanks for submitting. As always, SDGML. We've got a lot of older ones to get through, and you're quite welcome to send them along. Astroy, if you'd like to confirm that you're still here, we'll take a look at the Atlantis level that you had just sent over. I assume it's another very bossy creation, but we'll take a look. I'm just going to wait a moment for Astroid to check in, though. Aqua Bowsers have joined us under the sea. This is a very new upload with a 7-minute 15 world record. Yeah, if Astroid's AFK, then we will bump this back one spot. I do see him on the list, though. But that's the usual AFK policy, is that we'll just bump you back one spot and give you a second call. So if Astroid's not here, we'll go to just normal, and then we will look at a couple more of the levels in the traditional world. That's okay, at least we kind of have a rough idea of what we're dealing with. This is an 8-minute 07 clear check time, so... but we already have some clears on it, so who knows how it will go. But let's just swap places for now. If just normal you'd like to confirm that you're here, we'll take a look at yours first. And that's just how we typically handle things over here, so we make sure people are present. And if just normal is also AFK for a moment, then SD will just do another one of yours. Ah, just normal is here, great. Let's move that in. And Theorymon, welcome. I've been looking forward to the new one. Boy, Blaster Bayou. Yeah, looking forward to that. I did see that come up a week or two ago, I think. Anyway, let's do the traditional world here. It'll be a repeat of the 1-1, and that's okay. You're about to play a ton of Mario Maker today. His allergies destroyed you for 2.5 days. That's okay. 2.5 days shouldn't be too much to recover. Anyway, as usual for Super Worlds, we're going to do what we can and just add levels within the first 15 minutes or so. This one we saw previously, so we'll just try to speed through it roughly. And SDA, I think I had COVID about the same time that you did. I was off stream for a big chunk of July because of that. Actually, I had traveled a little bit. And I had already kind of planned to be off stream for a week, but then everybody came down with COVID in the process, and so I lost another week to not having a voice, and then another week after that to just all the stuff you have to pick up with your life afterwards. Yeah, it wasn't exactly a holiday, but it kind of turned into one. And let's continue over here. So we saw the first one previously, so I don't mind just speeding through it. Master Plains 1-2, though. Let's see how it goes. Pasta is very yummy. Well, I mean, there are circumstances where it might not be, but that's usually just due to human error. Trying to bounce in that mold a stylish way. Of course, we're going to tap this just to see what it does. Nice little one-up placement. It does put you under a little bit of time pressure to either chase or bump it. Oh, whoops. Didn't expect that guy. That's okay. We've got a flower. Pretty much instantly, we are, of course, going to check every pipe. And then, let's see here. Fuzzy Beetle is not going to be as cooperative when it comes to flammability. And what do we have here? Okay. Pretty big mounds of hard blocks here. Guess that's where the moles have made their home. Oh, not leaving that untouched. There we go. And back up in the overworld, of course we're going to check this. 1-ups for Endless. And back upstairs we go. And Theorymon, you did not have COVID. You had an allergic reaction to a plant. Yeah, I suppose, depending on the severity of the reaction, that's perhaps a little easier to live with. I've been steadily working my way back into Mario Maker myself. Although, admittedly, much of this week was consumed by Xenoblade Chronicles number 3. Whoops. And we did get through a pretty big set of Zelda dungeons in yesterday's stream, though, so it was kind of nice to do a separate puzzle adventure stream again, since it had been several weeks since we had held one of those, which used to be much more of a staple of this broadcast, but lately, for lack of time, that hasn't really been happening, so hoping to get more Maker content like that going in the coming months, especially with the 7 MMC levels coming out at some point. I don't think I'll actually finish one in time for it myself, but lots of familiar makers and new makers coming our way for that. So there should be lots of Mario making left to be done over the course of 2022. Alright, we'll pop each of these. And that kind of looks like a face at the end, doesn't it? A very surprised face. I have fire on my head. I look vaguely like an exit castle. And specifically, the castle that we're going to approach is 1-4. Yeah, that's a close resemblance to that face, I suppose. Anyway, good old fire bars. And let's see what we'll do here. Okay, Thwomp is going to do its usual Thwompy thing. Yeah, it feels very much like an SMP3 Fortress for sure, where Thwomps were first introduced, as well as Thwimps, which are not yet in this game, but for Mario Maker 3, perhaps. Thwimps would be interesting, actually, because they have a unique hopping movement set that would make certain stacking maneuvers very distinct. I think they would be a very valuable addition to the next Mario Maker when we eventually get there. If you're thinking about what remains to be added from the classic enemy sets. And Detroit Void, you need to make some fixes first? Yeah, that's fine. It's actually the leave command. I know it's confusing because you would think remove is the opposite of add, but if you want to leave the queue, it's actually leave. Or I can just bump you up manually. I can do that as well. Anyway, you're in position 4 regardless, so... Okay, we'll probably be able to get through a big chunk of World 2 as well, since we are still within that first 15 minutes of dialing more traditional levels into this set. Donut Desert 2-1. I suppose the current implementation of Kuribo's Shoe is what we use for the Thwimp-style hopping. So, in that sense, some of its movement set is already present in the game. And that's how people have traditionally made things like jumping mechs and such, like Mecha Bowzilla back in Mario Maker 1. Putting everything on boots, but obviously boots have a certain fragility to them that makes them not exactly equivalent to the Thwimps. I mean, I guess things like the Flying Koopas bounce around as well. There are a couple of different bouncing patterns, but the Thwimps really do their own thing in terms of just hopping back and forth. And there we go. Let's bump this guy over here. And this guy as well. There we go. Definitely another SMB3 style desert. This is very much for something called NSMB Switch. Actually, much more of a tribute to some of the design conventions of SMB3 from several levels we've seen so far. That works well enough. Yeah, we'll probably be able to get through World 2, and then we'll call it there, and then move on to the next submission. I think we are on pace to do that. That would make sense. Look at this, I suppose the ice, or rather the water down there, is being piped up to this storage tank. And indeed, it seems to be what's happening. I guess it is a water tower of sorts, which in a desert is rather useful, sometimes required. Anyway, let's move on over here, and yeah, might as well go for that. Fry some fish. And here's the best thing about the SMB3 water theme, that it actually has the only good-looking spike blocks in the game. In the form of these jellyfish. Really wish more themes had spike replacements like that. But nope. We'll only see them underwater instead. And that's just more fire. That's okay. We'll just leave it for the time being. And move on up here to see what else lies in store. Ooh, a star. Okay, we probably could have let that bounce out a little further to maximize our uptime with it, but that's okay. We'll power through everything we can. Maybe even through to the end. The Gelectros, that's right, I keep forgetting her name. Something I've rarely heard mentioned since probably the user manual to SMB3. Yeah, it is true that much of the theme is a little plain otherwise. It gave you a lot of trouble as a kid. Well, I mean, that can be said of a lot of things in SMB3, I'm pretty sure. Including the Angry Sun, which used to be a lot scarier. And, oh, let's get over here. Do a little more bouncing around. I had memories of the Angry Sun being absolutely terrifying, but that's what SMB3 is like when platforming games in general are still a new idea to everybody. Anyway, let's pick up what we can with the anachronistic Super Mario 64 slide music in play. And yeah, SMB3 was also kind of stretching the limit of what you could do without any kind of save system. Sure, I'm not the only one who left the system on overnight to continue a file that was not using the warp whistle. I mean, it is kind of meant to be played with the warp whistle just for that purpose, but here we are. And like I was saying, it would make sense to finish up this set with the World 2 Castle, and then we'll go to the next submission in queue. You sometimes wonder if they did that because SMB3 used some pretty advanced mapper chips for its time. Yeah, I don't know much about its technical background, unfortunately, in terms of the cartridge design. But SMB3 was definitely pushing the system. It's actually incredible to see what a huge leap it is from everything else that was on the NES. Really a big technical showpiece of a game, in fact, which doesn't get recognized quite as much nowadays. Because there was a period of time, maybe up until, say, you know, the late 90s with Final Fantasy VII and Ocarina of Time and such, making such a big splash, that I think SMB3 was very frequently in the popular conversation for the greatest game of all time for people who care to rank that kind of thing, and a lot of it was for technical reasons as well, I think, when people were just really impressed with what it accomplished, not just in terms of game design, but just as a very full-featured aesthetic experience. Anyway, this is definitely a much more Super Mario World style Koopaling room, though. Certainly not a problem. And a pretty interesting room for Roy to bounce around, in fact, because Roy's patterns benefit quite a lot from this little spatial irregularity here and there. And the moles are a nice touch. Anyway, the moles are also a nice touch because they work so well with being kind of like Roy, in that they are also enemies that like to burrow everywhere. Anyway, Roy finally let me get a hit. Yes, he will. And there we go. Let's not run into the mole, and let's get out. Without getting too specific, basically the NES lasted so long because Nintendo set up a system to offload a lot of processing power to cartridges. SMB1 is basically the max of what a stock NES card can do. Yeah, I think that was true of both NES and the Super Nintendo. In fact, if you think about how much they were trying to put onto the cartridges later on with things like the Super FX chip and such, that the later cartridge designs were very much console extensions. I wish Roy actually came out of the pipe and not the pipe area. Close enough. Anyway, just normal. We'll hold off here for the time being, and we will call in the next submission, but you're quite willing to resubmit whenever you want to see me continue. Let's mark that as a win for now. And let's do a second call for Astroy in case Astroy has decided to come back. I think Astroy might still be lurking. But if we missed a second call here, I will just ask Astroy to resubmit. I'm looking forward to doing Astroy's level, but okay, there you are. Great. Yeah, I assumed you were probably just AFK for the last one, but I figured, you know, short traditional session coming up, we're not going to make you wait for too long, so let's see how we do with this 8-minute Bowser underwater sequence that we're about to see. Relatively high clear rate, at least, so, and as you can see from the world record, perhaps the clock is generous. Let's see how we do. And Theorymon, yeah, about SMB1's limitations, of course, the classic example I think of is the repetition of sprites for not only things like the Minus World, but also between the bushes and the clouds and things like that. I love how threatening the Porcupuffer looks in the background in this theme. Like it's warning you of what is to come. What? As long as we're decently precise... Oh, whoops. It shouldn't take too long to just shell the first Bowser. We are going to start off with something comparatively easy, of course. And this is a clear condition level with a long clear time, so we can expect that we do need to marathon our way through all 4 Bowsers with a progressive difficulty increase involved. And we need to be careful with these bounces off the shell as well. I don't have that much control off of the bounce. So if previous Astroid levels are any indication, I would assume that We start off with one small Bowser, and eventually we need to face off against the larger and harder hitting ones. Well, not harder hitting, I guess they're just the same kind of damage, just they take up more space and they take more punishment. Swimming with the shell in hand is probably the best idea here, except we just need to not mess up the first throw. Let's just rise up, chuck this before it shakes, and let's do it again. And yeah, having the projectiles come towards me in the center is probably the best idea here, given that we can time ourselves around them somewhat safely. And Bowser's not going to do too much to me, thankfully, because of the slow underwater travel speed of his projectiles. And I believe it should be 7 hits on Small Bowser, if I'm not mistaken. Because it's 3 damage incoming, and he's got a 20 HP pool, if I'm remembering the back end of this game correctly. Whoops. Let's be careful here. Cuphead is... Oops. I shouldn't have looked over at chat when a projectile was coming my way. Cuphead is pretty interesting on Expert during his DLC. Yeah, I still have to do Expert level in the DLC. I was still in the middle of clearing Experts or S ranks in the standard bosses when the DLC came out, because I had gone back to Cuphead to do that. It's a bit of a pre-DLC warm-up. I see my network is choking a little bit. Hopefully we're not getting too much stuttering on the image. Do let me know if we have some problems. Anyway, let's pay attention this time. I thought, okay, we're doing so well, we'll just kind of cycle around, do everything safely, have a bit of a chat about Cuphead, everything will be great, and then that is when I get a little too complacent, so let's circle around and hit him some more. Oh, this is going to make the shell timing a little trickier, but we're going to launch that in anyway. Okay, good. Yeah, everything moves slowly enough underwater that a lot of this is just about planning. Most things are avoidable, but it's just that you have moments where you lose a certain amount of control, so you just need to plan your movements in advance. So for example, when a spread shot is out from Bowser, probably not a good idea to mess around in his little zone. Anyway, let's continue. And we'll hit him some more. There we go. That's going to be a key. Let's not get hit on our way out to the second room. Mr. Electrodude, I see you've been choosing a particular card to start your chain attack. Good morning to you as well. This is a pure dodging survival segment because the bombs are going to take care of Bowser for me, so we just need to do a little bit of bullet hell over here. And probably lead the Ludwigs to shoot in the middle, and so we kind of have an area to evade as we can. Yeah, I think we want to lead the Ludwig and Larry shots. So we create space. And then gradually, Bowser will just die. Anyway, I'll catch up on chat in just a little bit. I'm kind of watching the projectiles carefully right now, but we're out of here. Therimon, you actually got back into playing Touhou recently, and you can already hear the music in your head. Okay, we need to kill something else this time. Get a key. Probably we need to dive into the next room and come back out of it alive. Okay, we're in the dark, but that's okay. The openings are fairly easy to see, and the shells launch roughly forward. And the projectiles light up the night, which actually makes them easier to visualize in some ways. That they're not blending into the background quite so much as they often do when it's blue on blue. Also, this is going to be the final room because it is just 2 Bowsers remaining, and we just need to dodge as much fire as we can. Whoa. Just have to be very careful. There's going to be 14 shots on either side. We'll focus fire at one down and try not to get stun locked on the floor. That's very important as well. And try not to miss any of the shell shots. That would be absolutely terrible if it were to happen. Nope. I guess we're starting over. Adam, welcome. Looking forward to Super Fire Spinner. Okay. That's okay. That was the last room. That's really the core of this level. Everything else is the tutorial up to that point, I'm sure. Yeah, second fight is not too bad at all, actually. It's purely bullet hell dodging that happens to be underwater. This is very much an underwater control test in some ways. It looks to be a pretty long segment, though, given that we were already there with about 300 on the clock. That current record is over 7 minutes. So we can expect to take quite a while to do 28 hits in the dark room. And let's see how well we do here. Okay. Back we go. And then let's grab the shell again. Okay, now once again we'll just try to lead the Koopaling shots into the center whenever possible. Oop, this is going to be a little touchy. That's okay. We got it. Wait for the bombs to do their business. And oh, this is going to be a little bit threatening as well, but that's okay. We'll just camp out here in the middle until it's time to shuffle back and forth. That was too close for comfort. It would actually make sense to bob around a little bit while we're waiting for a Bowser shot, and then you can shoot high and we can just duck below Fireball if we can. I don't want a shot to just crowd me through the middle though, so... There we go. Now we just need to not die to the Koopalings, and then we will make it through to room number 3. And let's not spend too much time here, since their time is going to be close enough due to time limit that we should not get complacent. We're getting in here with 3:57 on the clock. Oh, nope. That was a bad idea. I thought I could get out of there in time. That was wrong. That was short-lived. And yeah, that was an awful way to go. Very easily avoidable. But hey, that's what happens when you have a nice lengthy consistency check. Now, let's get back over here. Yeah. In rooms like this, though, I really do think that you should be scroll locking the horizontal camera movement more often, since everything is going to be within the span of a screen anyway, and I often find it doesn't really add too much to also be fighting with the camera, but that's just me. I don't think it takes away from the fight to do that. But that's okay, this is a bit of a tutorial segment anyhow, and we'll be out of here soon enough. You somehow turned this into a 500-second speedrun underwater. Well, I mean, if that's just how the tuning worked out for how long it takes to clear the final room. The amount of time it takes to get through this one is always going to be fairly consistent. This room is not going to be subject to too much variance timing-wise, since all the hits are just being done automatically by the bombs anyhow. It's just a matter of how long it takes you to get out. We're not going to do the first room much more efficiently than how I've been doing it already, so it's just a matter of getting every cycle that we can in the final fight. And yeah, we have to watch out for all this blue-on-blue projectile business in this room, but like I said, it's not an issue in the dark room. And let me just watch this carefully. Whoa. The projectiles do cover each other sometimes, and that's a bit of a risk factor, we should keep in mind. I wonder if it's possible to... Well, you can grab a bomb here, but you won't be able to survive with it long enough to take it into the next fight. And it wouldn't do anything for you anyway. Except perhaps break out of one of these walls. Like if you were to take a bomb out of this door and chuck it and detonate it. I guess the walls probably do cover the entire column anyway. It's just that we don't know that because the ice blocks do not create a scroll stop. So the ice blocks probably do block all the way, and they're thick enough that you can't just bomb your way through. Although if you went back and you can't go back and forth because the door just drops you in. Okay. We understand it. Anyway, time's wasting. We're about 50 seconds behind, or 30 seconds behind how we were doing previously. And I will catch up on chat in a bit. I can't really see what you're talking about with more info right now, but we'll get to that afterwards. Now, when the Bowsers do their spread shot, that is the main problem that we have to deal with. Whoops. Is there a way to target specific enemy without finding a party member that targets that enemy already? Yes, Electrodude. Yes. In that... Well, I mean, you can just use the tactics menu, and tactics up top is just the party's focus fire, right? And you can always just tap focus fire to retarget a given enemy. It retargets the whole party, though. That's the thing. Or you can just swap to a different active character. But I don't think you can just command one character to attack one target, if that's what you're saying. It took me a moment to realize you were asking about Xenoblade. That's okay. Well, there's still some stuff in the combat system that I don't completely understand yet. But that's because I probably still have a lot of tutorial screens ahead of me, since I'm still exploring to my heart's content in Chapter 3. And so not everything has been unlocked. I haven't been able to use the Ouroboros in my chain attacks yet, for instance. Nor do I really understand how the interlink gets up to level 3, but these things will come, and I'm sure we'll just learn it as we go. I figured out most things, though, because Electrodude, I am playing on hard. And on hard, there is a little bit of an initial hump with some of the early bosses where you really do have to know what you're doing in some ways, and they benefit from some tweaks to your party setup. And then after that, it gets easy. I find that not just as a result of overleveling things, but also just having a lot more technical flexibility as your party develops. That on hard mode, you can definitely feel the game get easier even with enemies that are above you, simply because more options open up as you go. But early on, you're definitely kind of tested on how well you understand your own setup. And whoa, this is going to be a tight spot. Thought I could survive in that corner, but apparently not. Your problem is that your party always targets everything but the enemy healers. No, I do focus down healers in group fights. You just tab target over to them, and then you use the tactics menu to focus the whole party on them at once. You can focus them down, and if you release the focus targets, a lot of them will still stay on target, but then your tanks can still retarget, pull aggro, do the thing that they need to do. So And sometimes a lot of it is just positioning as well. Getting yourself out of trouble. Yeah, I'm finding hard very satisfying. I've found that the past Xenoblade games have been sometimes a bit of a mixed bag for me, where sometimes I really enjoy the combat systems, but sometimes I do find them a little too obtuse, where things don't feel like they're under my control. But Xenoblade 3 goes a long way to giving the player much more direct control over the party than in past installments. You have a lot more positioning tools available to you. Previously, in other Xenoblade games, you actually couldn't really switch characters mid-battle. You had to commit to one leader, and you had to do things like chain attacks in order to order your party members around if you wanted to get them out of trouble, or if you just wanted them to do some kind of emergency intervention. So, you were very much at the mercy of what the AI would do with the setup that you had created sometimes. But it felt like they got a lot of stuff right this time around in terms of preserving a lot of the complexity of previous games while giving the player enough control that it doesn't just feel like you're watching nonsense happen. Yeah, attackers are fun to play directly. I found that I had to switch off of them quite a bit because Electrodude, I know this is your first time hands-on with a Xenoblade game, but the sword class that you start out with as Noah is directly meant to emulate the control that you would have over Shulk in Xenoblade 1 and Rex in Xenoblade 2, where they start out with a very similar moveset, as you might know from Shulk's moveset in Smash, by the way, since he has, you know, the back attack and a side attack and all that stuff, and the air slash and all that. So it's meant to guide you into the game in a very familiar fashion if you've had some experience with the series at all, but it's also meant to be most accessible to control. Whereas if you're playing the healing classes, you do kind of need to know what you're doing in terms of your timing as well as positioning the buff circles and the like. Okay, Astroy, I have taken too long to actually get back into fight number 3 here. Let's see if we can focus and not die quite as embarrassingly as we have in the last few attempts. We'll try to make an actual deep run on the last fight. And if I don't finish it on this pass, you're perfectly welcome to resubmit this level again, but we'll stay on it for the time being until I get a better attempt in. We'll get at least one more attempt that gets me to the final fight. And it's not like we're losing any midpoint progress, since there is no midpoint, so it's just something that we're learning as we go. Yeah, I would bet that you didn't necessarily expect it to cut it so close to the full 500 seconds to get through the last fight, especially because I am able to get there with about 350 on the clock. So most of the level is the final fight. Whoops. Trying to release the shell and get out of there quickly, and that was not great. Yeah, Electrodude, in the Xenoblade series, healing has always been in a little bit of a weird spot. You had pretty limited options to do it in the first game. You had very limited options to do it back in X, and then mostly you just had to burn things down quickly. Xenoblade 2, I remember being a lot more flexible in that respect, but it's been long enough since I've played it that I don't quite recall what I was doing, but I found that there has been a really wide range of tactical options this time around where, you know, sometimes I can just switch to my healer Ouroboros if my healer Interlink if I suddenly need a burst, and then there are certain heals that are naturally built to encourage building the break topple days combos and other things like that as you unlock more heroes. I don't know who you've unlocked, of course, because you might be ahead of me in the story, but behind me in the side content from what we said yesterday. But as you unlock some of the other classes, you definitely find that there are a lot of different ways to set up healing, and sometimes, you know, you'll want to leave it to the AI to handle anyway. But there will be situations where it definitely benefits from some hands-on control. Anyway, let's get out for 15 seconds. Astro, you're not really an underwater guy. Yeah, I know you generally like a lot of those snappy close quarters fights. But this idea of the slow speed bullet hell in the confined space actually works out pretty well, though. This room is probably much more successful than it looks at first glance. Because it looks like you're in such a confined space, but, you know, mostly you're dealing with the fact that, to your benefit, the projectiles are slow, but the problem with Mario is that your movement is also slow, and so everything just requires a lot of advanced calculation as you see where everything is heading. And it's very playable, but you can definitely get yourself into an awful position if you aren't monitoring yourself very carefully. And there we go. See, not too bad this time, and we're going to be around the 350 mark once again. And yeah, Therimon, when the Koobalings first launched, that was actually the first thing that Ragnarok X did, was he figured out how the Ludwig stacking spam works. It was a very cool technique to just stack 7 Ludwigs and have them do mass projectiles. Okay, we just need to throw accurately, we need to dodge the bursts. Occasionally, if we need to abandon a shell, it might be better to let it wake up, but actually throwing from the pipe is going to hit. So we don't need to swim around that much. We need to swim around to dodge, but the pipe actually works as a launch position, which means that when it's clear, we can just chuck directly there, and it will hit, just barely. It was almost going to hit the ball there, rebound, but not quite, and we might be able to do it that way. Oops, okay, this is an awful position. Let's try to sink. Nope, that was not going. Astro, let me see how long I've been on this for a moment, because you're welcome to resubmit, but I might move on for the time being simply because each attempt is taking quite some time. I've been on this for about a little over 20 minutes. We'll try to make maybe one more good run on the final Bowser, but then I'll definitely call it at that point. I feel like I can definitely beat this given time. This is not a matter of ability so much, but consistency and patience and a lot of good bullet hell reactions. And I can see why it has a high clear rate from the people who have stuck with it already. Especially because all the attempts are going to be long, so the clear rate will naturally be high because, you know, people will decide pretty quickly whether they want to sit through it or not, and the people who do sit through it probably won't have too hard a time. And yeah, Electrodude, if you have that much unlocked so far, you're probably well ahead of me at this point. Given that, as I said, I am still kind of messing around in Chapter 3. Whoa, that's bad. Puts the Koopa in a rather dire position. That's okay, we can just kick the shell. Okay, that was a save. This level's rated a 5 in Team Boss at the moment, I see. Who actually does the rating beside you, though, Astroy? I guess the people who have played and cleared this already might be involved in that. And yeah, naturally, there's going to be a lot of time spent. Whoops. Look at that we actually managed to get the bank shot. Rather accidentally, but I'll take it. I actually wonder if firing from the pipe works out in this room. It definitely works in the underwater room, just barely. And so that's good, because it gives me a consistent standing location to work with. That is going to be beneficial, except we have to be aware of the stun lock if we are doing that in the final room. So let's try to make it through the bullet hell, and let's try to make it through this room and give the dark underwater fight, which is the bulk of this level, a cleaner run. But that will be the... if we make it to the final room, that will be the last attempt for now. Anyway, bombs will do their thing. We'll just try to control the projectile positioning. That's not a good fireball location, but we'll live with it. And we'll just plan around the Ludwig shot. Yeah, lots of open space to work with as long as we plan ahead. Because if the Koopaling shots are not interfering, then it makes this stuff on the side much easier to handle. Then we'll go. Luca, welcome. Okay, let's fire this immediately. No, that will not hit this time. That's okay. We'll just bounce it and do a second throw. That was a little off position on the pipe, though. There's a yellow pipe. It won't take too long to spawn these. We missed once again. Okay. Not great, but that's okay. It allows me to dodge some other things in the meantime. And let's see. Yeah, definitely the fact that the camera is going back and forth is something that I have to keep in mind, because we can't necessarily see the source of projectiles on the far side when we're just playing on one end. But it's going to be 14 hits on either one. Let's see if we can get at least one Bowser down, because that will be progress. Whoa, that was too close. We can't stand that close to Morton. Alright, we'll call it for the time being, Asteroid. Thanks for sending that along. I did have fun with it so far. And like I said, I think it is doable given time, but given some amount of time, so. Let's mark that as a loss for now and move on. SDGML once again. Alright, let's go back to 2020. For Frantic Froggy. Don't hesitate, just go. Looks like it's going to be Frog Suit running on water, by the looks of this theme. Let's see how it is. Okay. And up we go. Oh. And this is just getting you accustomed to the frog. Run! Okay, we hesitated a little bit. I bet that totally throws off my timing, as you can see. Oh, we needed to jump, of course. That's a rather important part of this. That's okay. We'll swim, and we'll see if this is survivable. It's not, but maybe if I stood on the pound. No, we need the frog, obviously. And Attaboy, thank you for submitting the Sanctuary Troll. Looking forward to that. Asteroid, thanks for Bowser's Rampage. I will be closing the queue a little earlier than usual today, because I can't stay for quite as long as I often do, but we'll worry about that when we clear a few more levels. Okay, much better this time. Now that we're actually playing this as intended, I was about to say, except not. That's okay. Let's start over. So many deaths to that Goomba? Yeah. You would think so. Okay, let's run it. And we just need to hold into some of these jumps properly this time. Okay, we were actually, whoops, a little ahead. That's okay. We'll hopefully not die to no longer having a frog suit. We are dying to no longer having a frog suit. You know what? We could probably lower each successive thwomp. Except the water level will not be what it needs to be. So yeah, I should not have run straight into the Muncher at the very end. That was maybe a little embarrassing. But it felt like I was actually slightly ahead of pace, which surprised me. Yeah, I see that Jamie does have the record on this. Jamie, the one and only. Because there are only so many people in the world named Jamie. And you've dedicated these to him because he loves them so much, yeah. That's as good a reason. And he loves speedrunning this so much, rather. So we actually could have made it through this room as Small Mario if we just watched the thwomp timing carefully, I think. Except you'd need to bob your head under the spikes, and that would be maybe a... Whoops. Okay, we shouldn't have done that. Can I reset? Yes, we can. And let's go fast, because this will be timed according to the water level, so... Alright. Bit of a bonus segment here, I suppose. You can see why it would appeal to a speedrunner. Just to fly all these curves accurately. Which we never do with the P-Balloon, and certainly won't do with a frog suit here. At least the frog suit doesn't have the P-Balloon's stun upon hitting a wall. I think Mario got his Pac-Man and his Frogger confused, but that's okay. We'll have this and we'll get ahead of the camera scroll. The beautiful sound of coins. We're obviously going to hit this to activate the heart and ride this all the way up just to see what's going on. We're obviously going to try to take the boot. There we go. Okay, true ending. A frog wearing shoes. Anyway, thank you for that, SDGML. Let's move on. Theorymon. The context behind this level, it was for a Maker 2 Discord contest based around making a new Super Luigi U inspired course. You took inspiration from some weird ones. I am, of course, expecting a 99-second timer, because that's what NSLU is all about. And Chui JPS8, if I'm pronouncing that somewhat sensibly. Thank you for Speedrun Light and Kaizo Light. Let me make sure I'm looking at the correct code here. It's COG. There we go. Boy Blaster Bayou. Blasters equal boys. There's 100 seconds of Mardi Gras left and 7 bonus pink coins. Let's take a look. And this must be the one where you were trying to fix up the blaster tech, if I recall. Okay, let's actually watch the timing here. And SDGML, you're going to lurk while you get ready for bed and then fall asleep. Sounds like a sensible idea. Can't argue with that. Okay, I was hoping it would come up at that point, but that was not the case. So it looks like there is a global on-off timer that we'll just need to be aware of. Okay. There we go. There is a ground block down there, so we can not get squished. And yeah, the objective here is to not get squished. That was an accidental ground pound. I was trying to get out of there quickly. Gotta watch that timer, though. We can only dawdle for so long while we have 100 seconds on the clock. There we go. Saved by the twirl here, too. Almost. Absolutely everything is going to shuffle around, so... Well, we can make some speed improvements as we go, maybe. No, I was targeting the dry bones so I could get a bounce, but it's not quite the case. Bounce off the dry bones and wall jump did seem to help the one time that I had tried it, though, so I'll try to keep that. Then... Oh, nope. Slide didn't quite work there. We probably need to twirl a little bit towards that coin. You don't think anyone has beaten your Maker record yet? I mean, I'm going for coins right now, so I'm unlikely to touch that. But we'll see. I do want to see the coin road. Especially on a tightish timer. Whoop. Listen to this carefully. Nope. That was a poor judgment there. I thought I was going to make it, and then halfway down, that was maybe not so cooperative. Whoa, okay. I keep forgetting that the cannon also swaps back and forth. Anyway, it seems like you got the reliability of a lot of the timings under control, even though we're going to have so much occasional variance and spawn positioning and the like. Whoops. I have to remember I'm tall there. I can't just bump my head into everything. That's still on coin 1. Got a long ways to go yet. Oh, no. Let's try it again. Okay. I feel like just taking damage through the piranha is probably fine as well. I can't actually see what's on the ground down there. Okay, I see. I probably should have looked ahead to see that there was a platform there previously. I didn't think about the positioning under the question block. Not that we need the question block for anything, unless it's a useful power-up. It's not just a mushroom. Oh. There we go. Try this again. There we go. That was not a wall jump, but that's okay. We'll take it. Actually, let's assume I can skip it. This is going to chomp me like 2 eyes and a mouth. Oh. Let's watch this. Notice the on-off blocks down there, giving me a sense of the timing. Okay. There we go, 3 coins at checkpoint. So it probably will be 3 and 3 plus a safety, if I understand this correctly. And we'll grab the Fire Flower. Fire Flower will get me through the piranhas, at least. Now, the interesting thing is that even though it is a 100-second course, you have the checkpoint, which makes the timer matter quite a bit less. Luca, you're back into making, and you might have something for next weekend. Good to know. Always looking forward to what you have in store. Luca, I was actually thinking of your rhythm level in the course of playing this. Because before this one, that would have been the last rhythm game level that I would have played, I think. Now, you have to be careful with this pink coin over here, because there is a point of no return if you are raised into where the level continues on the right side. So you need to get on the blaster and get off the blaster and slide down the right side wall, and then wall jump back onto the black blaster immediately. Oh. There we go. That's how to do it. Now let's do a bit of a goom split here. And just sustain my position for as long as I can until we See what's down here, perhaps. We want to go up or down? Probably up. Unless there's a reason not to. Nope, that's the reason not to.
Oh, no.
That's okay. We could have seen that coming. And thank you for the follow. The contest was okay with it, so you kept a checkpoint? Yeah. I mean, it is still a challenge to beat your time, and the clear check is proof of concept that it still works as an NSLU style 99-second level, so. A couple of last-minute saves all over the place here. Then next coin is going to be down below, so we need to go down. Oh, a wall jump there could have saved me. I just reacted poorly to which side of the wall I was clinging onto, and Joao Silva Roca, greetings from Peru. Yeah, glad to see you here. Always welcome to have more of South America represented. Whoops. Okay, we need to be careful here because as Big Mario, I actually am a little more vulnerable to squishing. It's also why you did question blocks instead of a muncher hitting a note block. Let's see. Yeah, Adiboy, the whole concept of New Super Luigi U is that everything is 100 seconds long, and so I believe there were no checkpoints because everything was meant to be a bite-sized concept. I think I remember that correctly, anyway. Because everything in that game was meant to be done quickly. Here we go. Okay. There's a course in NSLU called Dancing Blocks Poison Swamp. Yeah, I don't remember the titles of a lot of these because the last time I would have played it would have been back in maybe 2014. I played through NSLU twice, once in co-op and once in solo. And I haven't actually revisited it since, so. Okay, we have to kind of trust this bridge here that we see the artwork telling me there is this key exit. And it gives me another checkpoint because you don't want to die to the timer if you've worked your way all the way to the Hidden Luigi, which is another feature of NSLU. The only times it was longer was the game would give you bonus time when you reached the boss. Oh yes, that's right, that's right. Hey, vaguely remember that now. I should replay NSLU, actually. I do have my Wii U back in service. But anyway, thank you so much for that, Theoremon. Obviously, we were way off the time of 49 seconds. I wonder what your creator clear time is if nobody has touched that. 30 seconds, wow. So yeah, I guess you did have a very specific route perfected for it, given that you would need to trust some of the landing zones that are off camera that you're working towards, perhaps. So, yeah, nobody's even remotely close to that yet. That's a challenge for all of you out there. Set up the weird flagpole that way because you like the poison, revealing the mechanism like a curtain. Yeah, I didn't pay nearly enough attention to that at the end when things scrolled down, but I can look over my video footage afterwards. I'm glad you got all the debugging and such worked out on this one because I felt like the timings definitely felt very reliable, at least. The level felt consistent, and that seemed to be a bit of a requirement to make this work as a speedrun challenge. So let's mark that as a win and move on. You tried to design that course where you can have last-minute saves constantly. Yeah, I think it worked out. Lots of wall jumps and dry bone landings all over the place. Anyway, oh yeah, Detroit Void, you wanted to remove this code earlier, didn't you? Because you wanted to replace it with another one. Detroit Void, do confirm for me whether that's still the case, because then we'll kick this code and wait for you to be ready. If you do have something ready, let me know and we'll just replace it. Otherwise, we will move on to the continuation of Just Normal's Superworld. And actually, you did try to remove this earlier, I think, so... Just Normal, you are definitely here because you just said GG. Let's continue the Superworld experience. So for those of you new here, once again, for traditional Superworlds where the levels are rather short, I do them in roughly 15-minute chunks, so we'll be doing a set of levels before we move on to the next submission after that. And we'll probably be closing the queue at that point, at the time that I move on after the Superworld. So let's see how much we can get through this time as we get into World 3. Turnip Tundra. Amazing that the turnips can grow there, but let's not think too hard about the biomechanics of this place. Okay, let's wait for the Koopa, or just pop him. I feel like if I had a cleaner cycle to get up here, I probably could have sped over to Koopas, but this seems like this is the intention. This little one-up over there as the spike walks to its death. And sure, we'll bump everything we can and grab a fire flower because, of course, that's going to melt absolutely nothing. Then let's see. Really do hope that in an eventual Maker 3 they elaborate on some of the interactions with fire and ice mechanics. They are technically in the game already, as of all the fire and ice coin interactions that were introduced back in the 2.0 patch. You don't see any turnips, but that's because we don't have the SMB2 power to just pluck turnips out of the ground. Unfortunately, this theme does not give me access to that. If we had access to the SMB2 mushroom, perhaps things would be different. Okay, into this cavern. The cavern entrance looked vaguely like one of those creatures from Yoshi's Island with the gaping mouths. The ones that are supposed to be like blargs, I think. I think they are, in fact, blargs, but just Yoshi's Island style blargs. Which look nothing like the Super Mario World blargs, but... Oh, whoops. Have a much more voracious appetite. This was probably supposed to be a progressive flower, although that would have made getting through the ice more complicated, I'm sure. But it would also give me access to this pipe, which we have missed, unless we get the piranha plants to open things up for me, which we are going to attempt. Great, that's how to do it. And down the pipe we go. And yeah, alliterating things for its own sake is something that Nintendo themselves do often enough, so I really can't fault you for that. I mean, if you think about Yoshi's Island, where the... Not Yoshi's Island, rather. Super Mario World, which is where they started introducing names like Vanilla Lake and Chocolate Island and such. There wasn't really that much in the levels themselves to make that clear, self-evident on its own. Although it's very interesting because you would have worlds in Super Mario World like Cookie Mountain and such that had nothing to do with cookies, but eventually the kind of sweets and treats theme would become such a fixture of the 3D Mario series. It is, I think, one of the kind of unsung themes of 3D Mario, that there very often is some kind of candy or confectionery level. And yeah, attaboy, I replayed Yoshi's Island about a year and a half ago for the first time in a long, long time. There was maybe an over decade and a half break before that, and I just decided to replay it and, you know, get the full 6-star clear and everything, and I had an amazing time with it. You can really tell, though, if you go back to Yoshi's Island, that whenever people talk about Yoshi's Island as being a lot more difficult than more recent Yoshi games. Part of it is actually the fact that you have the 4:3 aspect ratio and a much snappier camera, because I found that half the time when I was getting hit in Yoshi's Island, it was because I was moving quickly enough for things to just snap into me off screen. And that's something that is far more noticeable now, I think, now that we're much more accustomed to the wide aspect ratio. But yeah, really a wonderful game, though, and we totally missed a leaf. Would have liked to fly with it. Plenty of launching points here to fly high into the sky. That's okay. We'll stay reasonably grounded. Now, the nice thing about this is that even if you do choose to fly with the leaf, you don't have any pits that you'll just randomly fall into from lack of camera control. You do have safe landing zones across the whole level. So if you do fly way up off camera, you're not going to be caught by surprise. And you played Yoshi's Island so long ago, you only remember the bosses. Yeah. It's got quite a memorable set, though. I remember first time I played Super Mario Galaxy, I was definitely thinking about how it felt like the long-term evolution of Raphael the Raven. Who I think is still kind of the iconic proto-Galaxy boss, if you know what I mean. I think it's pretty clear if you do know what the Raphael the Raven fight looks like. And even things like the frog belly fight in Yoshi's Island seemed like they were precursors to many boss designs to come. Whoops. And Spirit Wolf, welcome. Hope you've been doing well, Spirit Wolf. Always glad to see you here on your continuing adventure through Twitch. Let's not bump the mushroom this time. Anyway, definitely, once again, a very SMP3 style fortress, except this time with ice. We'll bump this. And might as well take it with me. Oh, no, that's a miss. That's okay. Oh, I love your solution to making it look like a boss door, just putting the semi-solid behind it to make up for the fact that we don't get more spectacular door designs in this game. Whoops. Okay, that was unclean on my part, but it makes sense to have Lemmy be an ice boss like this. It's a good room for his kind of mechanic where he's just trying to bounce you and mess up your momentum everywhere. And the Spirit Wolf, we're doing quite well over here. It's been a good set of levels today. And we have time to probably push through World 4 as well, and at which point we'll move on to the next mission. Looks like we're well on pace to do that. The pacing of the Super World so far has actually moved along at a very regular clip, if you think about it. Pretty much in a very good fit for how we like to run things around here, just getting through the Super Worlds in nice big chunks. And anyway, pipes everywhere. That's what World 4 is going to be about. Oh, whoops. Thought I was going to bump him. That was not the case. It's okay. We'll not bump the mushroom, because that would be bad. We'll send a shell over, though, and oh, bad idea, but we went in anyway. Looks suspicious enough. And what do we have here? 1-ups for Endless. And for that matter, for the Super World, since they will actually add up to more than 3. This context. Oh, nearly got caught by that guy. Thankfully not. let's move on. So yeah, unless we hit a sudden roadblock, it looks like it will be the natural thing to do to just wrap up World 4. Banana Beach is what it was. Should have read the title the first time. And here we have another thing that looks sort of like a water tower. Ice cube storage, I suppose. Anyway, let's grab that. Move on. Well, for a banana beach, there's sure a lot of fish waste here. And, oh, there we go. Nope, that was incautious. We'll check the yellow pipe. The yellow pipe looks very conspicuously like something I can enter, so. And thank you for all the GGs just now. Speaking of which, I didn't acknowledge all the emotes coming in. And the text GGs as well. They shouldn't be left out. Sure, we'll grab it. I don't know if I want to wait for the other one, though. Yeah, why not? We're here anyway. And we'll let this guy float across. What do we have here? Whoops, nope. And that looks very much like the exit, so we'll take it. And that's another clear. And something is going to rise up out of water when we finish this level. I'm sure of it. But first, Banana Beach 4-3. Oh, I thought it was going to land on a Wiggler, but I guess it didn't quite go as expected. Frog suit, yes, we'll take it. We'll even see if I can grab onto something. No shells or anything to work with though, so I guess we won't be skimming the surface after all. Luckily I did manage to jump on a blooper just in time. Now we do see question blocks down there, which might be something interesting. Whoop. Be careful. One up shroom, and then we'll just swim over. Pass by the hammer there that isn't going to do anything to me, but totally messed us up on the spiny. That's okay. We're already at the end. And there's another one of your base castles. Yeah, the pacing's been great. I think it has been kind of a gentle escalation where we need to be a little more careful, but the fact that we've just been able to progress this in chunks of 2 worlds at a time, pretty much right on schedule, has been good. Okay, so after this level we will move on to the next submission, but we will also be closing the queue for the day, I think, because I want to make time for everybody who's remaining. Have some short creations and some long ones, and we'll hopefully have that carry through the rest of the stream. So, because as far as I know, in the queue we still have, I mean, Adam is going to be a speed run. We also have a troll in there somewhere, and another Asteroid boss fest. Some other things. And Addy Boy, I don't know what yours is, or I think it was a troll, right? Yeah, we'll see it soon enough. Whoops. Let's actually watch where I'm going when I'm swimming. Too busy looking at my queue and thinking about which levels are coming. Okay, the thing about swimming against hammers is that we will not have that quick a reaction to what they're doing, so we need to get in there quickly, stop them, because I can't close in on them as easily as I usually do. Goose Minecraft, welcome. I said that just as I was dodging the thwomp. Thankfully, we did not get hit. Yeah, Night Castle looks amazing. It is, of course, a tile set that's just based on the original SMP3 castle, but which mysteriously is only available when you're swimming. But in general, with a lot of the underwater style layouts or swimming style layouts, it looked like they implemented a lot with them aesthetically that very unique. Despite that, I'm sure that didn't really help the popularity of swimming levels any, but it's okay, they still look pretty. And there we go. Attaboy, you're saying there's some things you would have done differently? Yeah, that's... You're talking about your level? That's true of anything people create, I'm sure. But we'll hopefully still give it a good playthrough. Unless you're talking about the Night Castle theme instead. I thought you were talking about your level, but we'll see it soon enough. Anyway, Frog's going to make my life easier for a few seconds before we lose it. Whoops. And here's the boss. Okay, it's going to be a Wendy boss, and this time it's going to be an aerial fight. We definitely want to keep the frog if we're able to do so. Definitely a bit of bullet dodging that we've thankfully had some practice with underwater earlier, thanks to the asteroid level. That did not give you the benefit of something like the frog suit. Whoops. Okay, now we have to do this the real way. Let's lead her down. I'm not doing that well enough, just leading her into a position that is more favorable to me. We probably want to keep the frog suit for as long as we can. And yeah, attaboy, so you are talking about your level. Yeah, that's what I thought. That makes sense. Goose Minecraft, thank you for submitting Amidst the Ant Colony. Maybe the last submission today, but for anybody new here, when I close the queue, I do try to get through everybody who is already in the queue at that time. We usually manage to play through the whole list of anybody who is remaining on the stream, so... Oh, come on, she's really not getting out of that shell form. That's fine. I was hoping she would just pop out from under me. So that was miscalculated. And so yeah, Goose Minecraft, you might be our closer today if nobody else is submitting after you. Guess we'll be closing queue at the conclusion of this boss. Oh, here we go. So let's bump her, and let's go down so we actually drag the clown car with us, which is the thing I've not been doing. See, much more sensible to do it this way. Much more sensible. Also, I shouldn't be boosting the frog everywhere because I just don't drive it well enough to make that be the sensible thing to do. And nuking these guys will not do much for me, but we'll do it anyway, just for style points and for the score line. And Luca, thanks for submitting. Luca, you may in fact be our closer. You should stay that long. We'll mark this submission as a win, and we will move on. And when we dial in the next level, the queue will be closed. So Detroit Void, I think once again this was the level that you wanted to remove earlier, and I don't think he's here anyway, so let's move that and tap in whatever's next. Atom would like to check in. We'll put yours in. Luca, I do see that the classic man code is heading my way. Quite a ways down that list by now, but looking forward to whatever is in store for me this time. Atom, I'm waiting for a check-in so we can see the 30-second speedrun of the week. I do see Atom on the chat list, but if we don't hear the check-in, we will do Attaboy's level first. Attaboy, I think, is still definitely here. You just spoke up a minute ago. What's my personal favorite of the world so far? Good question. I think World 4 is freshest in my memory, and that's where, you know, some of the mechanics really start to pick up, so possibly that, but I wasn't really playing them with a ranking in mind, so. But I feel like it has been developing pretty steadily. That was a fun 1D boss at the very end there, so. Let's bring in Attaboy's level first. Atom will remain in the queue in case he comes back. And we'll give him a second call after this. And we will close the queue before I start this level. So just one moment while I update my stream title and everything else to like that. We are closed to submissions. Once again, if you are currently in the list, we will try to play everybody before I log off. But here is a troll level set in the clouds with a 6-minute 53 record currently, but very few clears, so that doesn't really tell me anything. Let's not spoil anything by looking at the big word that says troll. Bang, welcome. And, okay, so if we hit the on-off switch instinctively, then we are trapped down here, and there's no reason to come down here. Okay, we know that. So we'll just skip over. And there's a block there that dunks you, so that's also important to keep in mind. That's probably why we instinctively went down in the first place. Still kind of in platformer mode here. You need to hit this, and then we'll go through. And that is also going to tell me no. So probably we need to get on top of that blaster, perhaps. Nothing hidden here, so we'll... I mean, it was pretty obvious nothing was hidden there, but... Oh, we skipped that block. Yeah, that's fine. I think we probably need to double tap the on-off switch. Hang on, let's remember that block over there. Also notice that we haven't done anything with this saw on the left here, so that might be something interesting eventually. But we don't know that yet. So we will tap this instead. We will tap this again. That would be a little bit out of reach though, so never mind. I think if we get to the left of the blaster after activating the on-off switch, then maybe we can do something. But instead, we're going to be here, and we'll have to rethink that. It's okay. Oh, Detroit Void. Yeah, you know what? We actually just took you out. You're telling me if you don't give me a hint, you probably won't beat it. We'll see. We'll see. Give me a few attempts to try things out first. Because sometimes we manage to find things out of the blue. It might be something really obscure, though. Detroit Void, let me open up for you quickly, because you were here anyway. We had actually just removed your spot while you were finishing your level, so if you want to pop yours in, I will put you in. And you will be at the back of the queue, so hopefully you're able to stay, but... Okay, so that's going to drop. I wonder if there's some kind of P-switch activation or something. You know what? Okay, there's nothing there. I was wondering if maybe there was a block that would be underneath. Okay, what have we not done yet? We haven't... We know that there's no point to going through that door, because I don't think there is anything that is accessible to me there. Might be something reachable from here. We might have to look at the more info screen again to get a sense of what the layout is. We know this is going to drop the blaster, but that we don't have something to stand on to get on top of the blaster afterwards. Nor do we have another way to get on it. So, let me think about that. Yeah, maybe there was some kind of P activation. Whoops, I was trying to jump on top of the blaster. Maybe that would scroll the camera up if we jumped across. I don't think that will make it, though. Not going to get enough height on that jump to have it work. Let's take a look at a more info screen. Yeah, so you have the blaster drop up top, and you also have a door that is the platform all the way up. So it might be a series of invisible blocks that get you there, or it might be something like a cape if you have enough room to run with it. But I don't know where that would be placed. It looks like it's something that would just require a lot of poking around. So. It's not going to be a bullet bill, though, because... Or rather, you think I can jump over to the blaster? I don't think I can have enough momentum to do that, but if you jump like this, maybe you can. Maybe you can, but looks like it's a little tall for that. Or maybe it isn't. Okay. This doesn't really solve the problem, though, apart from giving me some visibility of what's coming up top. You know, it might be something like a flying invisible block that you have to hit at a certain location at a certain time. Would not be totally surprising for that to be the case, but we don't have anything to work with in terms of information that will point me towards something like that, so... Adam, that's fine. You're still in the queue. You will just be next after this one. And, oh, Detroit Boy, did you get your code in? If you didn't, I'm going to close back up. Because we reopened for that one code. But if not, I will close again. Hang on. So all of this we've confirmed is obstructed, right? Yeah, that's definitely the case. Blow that up, but that doesn't give me anything. And you think he left again? Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to close then, Spirit Wolf. Yeah, because he had a level that he needed to revise when he was trying to submit earlier, and he was just a little bit too late to get back in. Okay, so we definitely don't have anything to work with that would get me through the second room either, do we? Like, it looks like we'd probably need to get up to the sky in the first room, because in the second room... Yeah. In the second room, is there anything that would theoretically be gained here if you did, in fact... I mean, by the looks of this... We came through a door, so whatever this room is, we can definitely see. So you can definitely get back through this door. Oh, yeah. That's got to be it, then. That we come back with mushroom, and there's some kind of mushroom detector that will affect the previous room. Because it allows you to hit the on-off switch. And if you have the mushroom, then it allows you to jump through this and hit something. There we go. And that takes you upstairs. Okay, there we go. Now we have to deal with whatever this is. I don't know what that is, but we'll think about it. Okay, and then we actually had some visibility of this earlier. We know that's a checkpoint flag because it's protruding. Oh, oops. The funny thing is that we actually did have full visibility of this, so we would have known where to go if I had been paying attention, but we weren't, so... Yeah, I was wondering how we could interact with this room, mainly, and, you know, whether there would be anything popping through the floor, or whether there would be some other mechanism to get us through the door, but no, simple old block. Yeah, attaboy, like I said, that's why I don't ask for hints because it is important to see this for myself and see how we can flow through it with our own solution. Whoops, nope, that's not right. You honestly thought the flag was a troll? Yeah, you see, just normal, I was thinking that too. See, because a lot of troll makers would do that to you. They would absolutely try it. Now, the thing about troll levels is that it's important to confirm that they are independently solvable, and so I try not to rely on any external information. I can avoid it. Because if I do have to rely on external information, that's a flaw in the level. But I think this is definitely something that most troll players will know to look for, so... because you only have so many possibilities there anyhow. Now this is interesting. I don't know what it will be. We also don't know what that lower pipe is doing. We might have to go down and take a peek, but nothing. It's okay. Collecting information. Looks like eventually we might have to jump out of there with Yoshi, perhaps. Notice also that at this point when we respawn from checkpoint, we are still in the on state, and we were back in the on state originally here anyway, so that's fine. Looks like we probably just want the thwomp to back up all the way. I wonder if I can drop the P here. Then do a P jump up top. Not that it's necessary. Then we just need to look out for that block. Yeah, because if you take too long getting over with the P-switch active, then it's not going to help you, but if you do a P-jump off of the thwomp with it, then you keep it active for as long as possible, so... seems like a decent way to go about it. You don't know what your past self was thinking when you made that pickup path. Yeah, I didn't take a look at when this level was created. Sometimes that's interesting information, sometimes it's not. Okay. Now I wonder if the P-switch should or shouldn't be active when we enter the next room. I don't think it affects anything. There is a door down there, of course. But we'll check this first. And it's going to do that instead. I wonder if that is something that could be cleared, but we'll probably just try a different path instead, since we do see that door peeking out at us from the bottom right. So we'll get there and we'll see how it goes. Okay, pretty clear at this point. We just need to whack our head on too many blocks along the way. I had somehow contrived to miss that one last time, but let's be a little more careful. We only have so much time, though, with the P-switch active. We can't just check everything. So we'll just need to remember where everything is going to try to trick us out. And let's see what this P is going to do. Yeah, we just need to jump from the middle block, and usually that will just solve the problem for me. Looks like if the P-switch is still active at that point... Ah, no, that's just the lower point of the same part of the level, isn't it? No, it can't be, because we would have seen this door previously. Like, if I jump forward, we can see... Ah, yes, that is the door that we came in the first time. Okay, okay. I wasn't sure how that was matched, but now we have confirmed it. I feel like we just need to go further ahead on the red pipe then, where we came in a little bit too close to the bullet blaster. Not the bullet blaster, the Bonsai Bill, rather. But if you go further along, perhaps you can still get ahead of the Bonsai. And we'll just need to try that out. And we're going to hit everything along the way that we had missed previously. You learn something new with every attempt. It's just that the thing that is new is sometimes a single block. Okay. P-switch. Yeah, let's not dawdle around here too long. This will take me all the way up. So let's try to run forward this time. And then that gives me the POW. We're going to try to shove the piranha with POW rather than doing anything else with it. Yeah, so it's 4 blocks, so now we know for future reference. That's the distance we have to cover. I'm not going to hit everything with the POW yet, because I feel like that might actually be a mistake. We can actually lift, or possibly even crush the spiny that way, I think. Let's see what this is. You have the POW, you're able to stand on this, be able to jump, but not very far. Whoops, let's be careful here. The Thwomp would launch you up directly, but you can't get over the one-way panels anyway as Mario, so you need something down here. Used as a jumping point, and if the Thwomp has hit, then you can destroy it with POW, but I don't think destroying either of these is going to do anything for me, because we just can't get through the one-way panels either way. We need something to land on. And don't exactly know how that's going to happen unless we find some way to do some shoving here. Let's see. What do I think about this? If we can move the Thwomp, perhaps, then that has some potential. I don't think we can, though. And either way, we would get squished if it's the one-way panel that we're working with. What if we POW over here? We let the Spiny walk, and then we spin jump on it once it comes down, or we let the Spiny just dunk this for something like a P-switch. Okay, that works. Now, is it a block over here? No, it's just a clear. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about projecting the Spiny in the first place, but I didn't know how the interaction with the one-way panel would go. Although now that I look at it, since the Spiny was already halfway over the panel, it worked exactly the way I thought it would, so we should have just tried that first. Anyway, thank you for the GG, and good morning, Ampersand. Mark that as a win. And Adam, you are going to be next. This is a second call. I know you were AFK earlier, but I assume you are, in fact, back. So, Adam, just like to confirm that, we'll punch in your speedrun very quickly. I know you just said you had come back, so thank you for that once again, attaboy. Actually, not too difficult to work with as far as a role concept goes. The last bit was practically a straightforward puzzle, so which was nice. I was kind of concerned that I would get tricked out by a block at the very end. Super Fire Spinner, full spin jumps and hold of the ice blocks. We have come to expect from the Up and Adam 30-second speedruns. Let's see how spectacular this one is going to look. Now we have to really remember to hold all of these jumps. Now hopefully it will give me enough space to actually see where the ice is located. 12 seconds as we enter the door, and then we have some ice. Whoops, missed a second spin. Always failed to correct for the additional momentum from operating at star speed. Missing one of the question blocks thankfully didn't seem to do anything too harmful, except we're a little bit behind. Actually, we should have bumped a shell at that point, so you need to hit everything along the way with a little more accuracy. There we go. No, that was not what I was supposed to do. Wearing the shell, though, is probably fine. And, in fact, probably required, given that we had to cut our way through everything. Oh, nope. Missed a jump once again. Probably because I was doing the full hold, I just didn't release it. Yes, the sound is starting to glitch out again, Spirit Wolf. Thank you for noting that to me. I just noticed that myself. So let's do a quick fix, and we'll be right back into it. And we should still be on track to do all the spin jumps accurately, despite pausing at the very start. Except we're missing the Shelmet this time, which is bad news. I guess I failed to activate it somehow. So let's start over, and this time maybe things will be properly synchronized. Now, where was it that we activated the shell then? I guess it was the block that I failed to hit. No, it's this launcher right here. There we go. Right on schedule. And yeah, good thing, Spirit Wolf, that you report technical difficulties is very helpful. Whoops. A little early on that jump that time. Yeah, this level is conditioning me into holding into full jumps all the time, and once you get into that segment near the end, you do need to have these quick rhythmic releases. Okay, so missing a block at the time was not too bad. And you can see one pink coin remains for a further run through this segment. Whoops. The fire was kind of disguising that block. I wasn't quite watching where it was going near the end, because all the Podoboos I was eliminating were covering the screen. I also just wasn't paying attention. Very much my fault as the player. But we'll just make another little run of it here. Everything's right on target. Oh, whoa, that's an awe. That's okay. We'll see how far off the timer we are. These are usually a little bit tight, though. As we can see, 0 seconds. The timer is going to kill me even though I was about to die. Oh, and I see. So the audio was already falling out of sync anyway, Spirit Wolf, from what you're telling me. Yeah, so it was definitely in desperate need of a reset anyhow. If the synchronization is off, that's usually a sign that things might potentially cut out. So. Nope. Just that. Yeah, I'll need to do some kind of major hardware overhaul sometime in the next year. I am on a rather aging machine at this point, and things will need a big upgrade on the PC side. And hopefully that will improve the quality of the stream somewhat. I've been saying that for quite some time, but, you know, I've been kind of putting that off. Also notice that the hard blocks here are giving you these targets to hit when you are spinning everywhere with the spiny helmet on your head. I'm Lattice lenient enough not to require that I hit the first block there in that series of jumps. Should make it through pretty soon, though. Low ceilings that we need to deal with everywhere. And a nice big spin down here. Then we've got 0 seconds on the clock, and time is up. Because we hesitated slightly at the door, so that GG was slightly premature. And yeah, Ampersand Atom has a whole series like this, where you can just run for it and it's all about your jumping accuracy, but then everything looks very spectacular as it explodes around you with perfect synchronization. Why not break stuff while you're wearing a helmet? Exactly. What is it for, otherwise? And let's jump. And yeah, it's kind of neat how it has this double looping structure. We've seen that in a couple of other Atom creations before, but the fact that the layout is created in such a fashion that allows you to just kind of double back over it in a totally different fashion definitely stands out about it. Just going to drop all those spike tops at the very end and mark that as a win. So thank you for that, Atom. What's kind of interesting is that even though the style of gameplay in a lot of these 30-second Atom levels is virtually identical, that each of them actually does have a very strong thematic identity to it when you play through it. And so they do feel a little different every time, because you're looking at this completely different explosive sequence. So, thank you for that. Let's see who's next. Astroy, if you're still here, please check in. We'll take a look at your other, no doubt, very bossy creation. And thanks again. Submission. We'll wait for Astroy to check in. After Astroy, the next one will be JPS, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Although I don't think they're here anymore. I don't see them on the lurk list. So the next one might be Goose Minecraft. And yeah, Spirit Wolf, the chat actually is sometimes a little ahead of video because the chat is just on a direct IRC connection. Okay, since Astroy is on the lurk list, we will bump him back 1 spot in case he's just lurking. I think ChewyJPS8 might not be here though. I don't see them in the chat list, so we'll give you a moment to check in, but I don't think they're here. So the order from here will be Goose Minecraft next, and Goose Minecraft just said GG, so I do know you're present. And we're on pace to have a decent finish to this stream, I think. Let's see. And we still don't have Astroy here. We'll take a look at Goose Minecraft. Goose Minecraft is going to give me an untitled Goose Honk. I've actually still not played Untitled Goose Game after all this time. Speaking of which, this level's pretty tame. Let's see. Amidst the ant colony, 4-1 of Super MX Goose World. And we're going to see ants. And tame is perfectly fine. It's always going to have a good mix of styles and difficulties in a viewer level session where I never really know what I'm going to get. As I say though, I'm usually quite pleased with the quality of the stream. You know, judging by how a lot of other viewer level channels tend to go, I feel like I've consistently got one of the stronger ones, even with a lot of new people coming in week to week. And I wonder if it's just because it's all the really serious hardcore makers that will stay up for my crazy broadcast times. And yeah, Spirit Wolf, that's what I thought as well, was that I only bumped Astroy back 1 spot because I assumed he might be AFK. Which was the case with one of his previous submissions as well. Anyway, let's be a little more careful with the jungle theme here. I see the 10 coin as the first bonus in the mix. And audio is getting a little bit desynced again. Okay, good to know. We'll try to fix that up. Yeah, there comes to a certain point in my stream when the audio starts going a little kaput, so... I'll try to get that repaired maybe at the end of this attempt. We'll do another quick reset. We've had long-running sound problems on the stream, and there are some issues that I actually can't really fix without new hardware. And some issues that I just try to mitigate with sound resets from time to time. So production quality can definitely use a step up here, but we're going to get a nice bounce off of that ant. And since we're at a checkpoint here, let's do a quick fix here so you can have a good viewing experience for the rest of the level. Speaking of which, Zypher coming in with a party of 9. Let's acknowledge you first before we blink over to the fixing the stream screen for just a moment. Zypher, I hope you've had a good Mario Maker session today. We're actually just in the midst of doing a quick audio reset, so we'll be right back in a minute. But we should have a fun continuation of the queue from here. And in the meantime, you can tell me how your stream was going. Okay, that should work a little better now. You beat the Pantheon finally. Excellent. Yeah, I did see that you were streaming Hollow Knight at some point earlier, so I was wondering if you'd made some more progress on that. And congratulations. Over a month and a half of training. Seemed like that finally paid off. I still haven't done it myself, so maybe that sets my expectations for how much work I can expect to put in when I finally do it. I'd love to do it before Silksong comes out, which might not be until, I don't know, 2028 or something, so maybe I have time. But at least I have a sense of scale now for what to expect. We're surprised to be done so early. Yeah, I find that with really long boss grinds, that's sometimes the case where, you know, you just have one day that just starts off right. All of a sudden. And I remember that from experience with some other games where, you know, you just expect to be in for another huge grind and then one day things just click. Just a third Pantheon. Now you have to do the fourth one with all bindings. Yeah, I am nowhere near doing any of that, so that's the next project coming up, I suppose. Okay. Going to have the checkpoint over here as we explore a little bit more, and I see a 30 coin. I guess it's a 10, 30, 50 collection system. If the earlier 10 coin is to be believed. Whoa! Didn't account for that bounce there. See if we can salvage this. Might not be able to. Just didn't even think about how the ant would go. Zote was already the bane of my existence, you know, in the standard way that you face him first. I think he was one of the harder bosses for me to deal with, even in the base content of the game. Okay. I've always had trouble with Zote. Just by himself, not even counting for boss rushes. Detroit Void, I was hoping to open a spot for you earlier because I know you finished a level that you were working on. If you're still here, I'll open up for you one spot. But you'll have to be at the end. And thank you for the cheers. So yeah, Detroit Void, if you want to get your code in, you're welcome to. But you'll have to do it quickly before I close up again because we technically are closed. But I know that you had to rework your submission earlier, so... Yeah, thanks for the submission. We will now properly close that up, and we'll hopefully get to you before you have to leave. But as usual, it is my intention to get through everybody who is remaining in the queue. Whoa! Oh, no. Staring at that key box for too long, I didn't really even think about something that would be coming out there. I wonder if this key box is supposed to be a skip ahead then, because it wouldn't make sense for it to be something resetting you to this position in the level. So perhaps we've missed some kind of bonus already in an earlier section, which I hadn't thought about. It's entirely possible. Okay, I'm making an absolute mess of this. Let's let the ant come over here first and then aim for the P block, perhaps. I said aim for the P block, perhaps. Instead of just winging it. And there's such a clear indication of what you want me to do. Oops. It's okay. We'll let it come out. Okay, one of these would have worked. And there we are. Whoa! Let's watch the landing here. And back up. Alright, let's try it again. Nope. Had a short bounce, unfortunately, that time. That was not what I intended to do. Hey, we actually turned this guy around. It's even better. We can get on him. I guess that is the way to do it. You just turn him around at the spawn point. Probably an unexpected behavior, but we'll take it if it happens. That's okay, we just need to do a shorter bounce there, and that's a lot simpler than I was making it look. Okay, let's back up a bit before we see our landing point, so we don't make such a mess. And go. Okay, so there will be a set of ant troopers coming out here. I guess the key was something that we just never saw then. Usually I'm pretty good about uncovering secrets, but I guess we just outright missed that one. Regardless, thank you for that, Goose Minecraft. And yeah, that was a fun one. Definitely a good fit for a traditional Super World. Okay, this is going to be second and final call for Astroy. He's back from being AFK. Failing that, we will move on to Luca, who submitted Meng's old maker code, as far as I remember. So, yeah, no Astroy, that's fine. So, Luca submitted on behalf of Meng. And let's go back to Meng 2020, if I'm not mistaken. We're deep in the list. Way, way down. Back in the era before 4YMM, if I'm not mistaken. And before the Super World as well. Okay, here it is. Monty Mole Love Adventure 3. Oh, if this is part of a series, as with Space Bunny, do you want me to play it as a series? Where I start with another one? Or is that the only Monty Mole Love Adventure? It might be the only Monty Mole Love Adventure, isn't it? But let's take a look. It is the only one. It's not a series. Okay, that's fine. Let's do it then. And it will be this week's honorary mole level. Give Monty Mole a kiss. Seems like we've done that in many Meng levels up to this point, but let's see an earlier iteration of that. Okay, who's going to spawn the mole and where? Ah, yes, we need to remember these are the pre-patch mechanics as well, right? I don't know if that will affect anything here, but if it does, I'm sure you can remind me of what it is we're missing. In case there's anything to do with side springs that work differently than I expect. But so far, pretty straightforward, actually, so. Checkpoint. And we just need to catch the timing properly as the mole gets into its spawning box. And we're going to fall a little bit short. Not quite a one-shot, unfortunately. Not quite. Maybe getting a little overconfident with how well that was going. Let's get within the mole's spawning box once again, and there we go. Whoops. Well, okay. It was an entertaining death. It was a one-shot for Luca? Yeah, of course it was. Luca, the speed record holder currently on this level and on Mang levels generally, in terms of having the most Mang records, as far as I know, on both accounts. I got pretty lucky, too, because the first section has a bunch of despawn issues. Okay, well, we didn't see that, and what we didn't see, we just don't know about. It's not like you are about to re-upload this, given that it is pre-patch, and who knows when that would break. And okay, up we go. Okay, just barely made it. Let's not hit the ceiling this time. That would be quite bad. We'll try not to lose momentum there either. Alright, down we go. Maybe being overly cautious there now. We'll try it again. And yeah, I keep underestimating how high the mole is actually going to go. I just count tiles, of course, but I just have a cleaner landing in general and a longer activation of the jump button. That would resolve a number of issues, or if I just go earlier, as we see there. Whoops. I was expecting to land there, I just completely overshot. So sometimes your sense of when the mole is coming out does need to be pretty accurate, so you don't just go straight over it. Basically, I want to be falling towards the platform as the mole is coming up, because then I don't need to worry so much about landing timing. But we'll see if we can tidy that somewhat. Oops. There we go. Whoops, I was about to say let's back up a bit so we have some forward momentum, but nope. That was not the way to do it. Yeah, I backed out a little too early because I was trying to make sure I was going to face in the right direction once I actually did land on the platform. Whoops, too soon. After how clean the first section went, this is suddenly a reversion to the norm. Whoops. It's okay. Try it again. And yeah, just sometimes need to some adjustments on the fly. Here is an on-off switch, and then we'll activate this guy. The box there... I wonder if I was supposed to go for it immediately. I wasn't quite sure. I think I was supposed to jump towards the box as the launching zone for the trampoline, but I'm not entirely clear. Well, see. I guess I've been affected by too many of those conventions of boxes indicating invisible blocks that I just didn't think to use that as a signification point. Yeah, maybe if I just jump towards it directly instead of trying to hit it from under. Which... well, we'll see how it goes. And let's try it again. This whole section's going a lot cleaner this time. Okay, so no, I do have to jump towards it and use that as the spring's point. There's nothing to activate there. I wasn't quite sure because this level is early enough that... I think definitely some things like P-blocks were around at that point, but at that point I think community expectations were much less standardized, and of course, you know, who knows what the Meng system was at that point. Anyway, I mean, it should have been fairly clear to me that that was just a landing point for trampoline coming up, but in that I needed to get that height in order to bounce off of it. Yeah, for a second you were yourself confused by why you put an invisible block there. Because I couldn't understand why that would be, given that the objective was clearly to jump on the spring. Oops. And that's okay, we'll just around it accordingly. Just try to clean up this segment again. There we go. I'd enjoy the Delfino Plaza music in this as well. Very good fit. Nope, didn't quite make it. So that just gives you a minimum height. That's why you would need a nice big fat target there. And yep. Sometimes you need to decide whether I need a shorter jump, whether I need to land a bit faster than I'm expecting. We'll just bounce forward. Yeah, that's too slow a landing. You need to have a good sense of when the launch is going to happen. That's okay, we'll back there and fix it up. And there we are. And here's a mole. Honorary Monty Mole. Okay, again, same idea here. Or not. I guess we didn't get close enough to the spawning box to get that up and running early. Wasn't quite sure. Anyway, let's move on from here. There we go. And I think I actually need... Well, he's not going to bounce high enough, though, to get across. I was hoping the mole would just assist me here. But I think I just need to get close enough. Nope. Yeah, I want to get in the landing box before I land on that platform. So I want to kind of land on the inside as close as I can, because then you maximize how quickly you activate the mole before you need to make that jump. Detroit Void, I'm absolutely fine with a playtest. We do playtests here all the time. Partly because I break people's levels all the time. So that's absolutely fine. I've seen multiple versions of levels here on the stream many, many times, including early beta versions. So, Detroit Void, just so you know what to expect, Just Normal's submission is a Super World continuation, but we usually just do those in 15-minute chunks, so after Meng's level, it won't be too much of a wait. Let's actually nail the bounce here. That spring hit me a little sooner. I don't break people's legs, I break people's levels. There's a subtle difference, but it's very important when it comes to criminal responsibility, rather. No, I don't break their legs on this stream. That would be my other job. Anyway, let's get over here. Whoops, not quite. No, I'm just kidding about that. But occasionally there is speculation about the international intrigue that I get up to on my spare time. Whoops. Anyway. Okay, let's tap this. Let's get over here. And nice short bounce. Okay, great. There we go. And whoops. That seemed like it was such an easy landing, and I just didn't really even think about it. And you would prefer me to break your level? Yeah. I'll definitely keep in mind that it is meant to be a test version. I'll try to poke at it a little bit, if I can remember. Oops. And with a big punch, okay. We'll keep that in mind. Luckily, if you break people's legs, they can still give you a big punch. It doesn't prevent them from doing that. Maybe I shouldn't say luckily, but, you know, you get the idea. Oh, whoops, no, I knew that was going to happen. I knew exactly what was going to happen. And yet, I was still in the mindset of the moles bumping me over slightly. Anyway. Yeah, the bounce inputs on the springs actually feel a little unusual here in terms of the button press sometimes feeling like it's a little bit late, but the bounce giving me a high bounce anyway. I wonder if it's something to do with the pre-patch mechanics. It might not be. It might just be my inputs fooling me a bit, but... let's just try it again and see if we can get this to go a little bit cleaner. Okay, there we go. Here's a checkpoint. Same idea here. Nice way to enforce that, incidentally. I wonder if I could have landed to the left of that blade safely, but I somehow doubt it. There we go. And then, yeah, that needed to edge its way up slightly, and then I need to get on top of that next one. I see. We did need to pop that. The moles jumping up are definitely a bit of a punch. There we go. Now that goes down, but then both of those platforms go up and spring towards the middle. Then what do we do about the piranha plants? I don't know. I guess we just let that bounce on top of me, and then that crushes me. Okay, okay. No, I knew that was going to happen, but I didn't know how I was going to interact with it because I didn't know where I was going. But it looks like there's an exit pipe right at the end of that segment, which is a nice way to extend the length of this level if you need to use some of this vertical space to wrap back around itself. Yeah, it's going to rank me over. And Here's the little troll mole at the very end as well, just to add insult to injury. Anyway, here's the flagpole. Looks like there's going to be a mole that probably pops that blaster as well, and we probably need to go under? No. Can't be. It is definitely under. Yeah, okay. There was nothing else that was going to be, so I just targeted that poorly. But at least I understood it correctly. That's a moral victory. Whoops, too soon. Much too soon. Okay, let's go over here. Whoops, too soon, too late on that one, actually. Let's try to mix that up a bit. Okay. Now let's be aware of the mole that follows me down. You can't rush victory. Oh, trust me, I don't. However, we'll need to clean up that jump. It's going to be a much shorter and well-timed jump than that. I don't think I have enough time to let the mole walk off or anything like that. I think it would walk towards me anyway. And we just don't have time before the platform sinks. We are supposed to make the gap. Fairly sure. And we'll see if we can make that happen. Okay, up we go. And down. The mole at the end there is a very nice touch, though I have to say I strongly approve. Look at that cluster of deaths there. Also the moles on the other side as well that are just waiting to be eliminated by the flagpole. Awaiting their eternal rest. Whoops. As they get transformed into one-up indicators. Oh, whoops, no. Ampersand, it blows your mind that creators one-shot these levels. Oh, you mean in terms of doing the clear check without checkpoints? No, I think the creators, if they're familiar with the mechanics in their own setups after a lot of testing and iteration, this is very manageable. I mean, Meng is also an extremely good player. And that helps, but... You know, in the process of building something like this, you're replaying segments constantly anyway as the maker, right? So after a little while you have a pretty good understanding of the patterns. And I generally find these levels pretty accessible. Like, it takes me a little bit of work, but... You know, you just need to have that one clean landing at the very end and eliminate all the moles, and that's it. And yeah, Ampersand is actually much more often the case that creators underestimate the difficulty of their own levels, and that it's much harder than they think it is, because the clear check actually feels relatively easy after having spent so much time tweaking everything and testing it. And it's much more often the case, I think, that a maker will have an easier time than expected without realizing it. Anyway, this was the level from 420-2020, which was an excellent time to have a Monty Mole love adventure, I'm sure. And we'll mark that as a win. And yeah, Therimon, you're saying you often have to sand down the difficulty a lot. Given that people are still 20 seconds off the record of Therimon in that latest level of yours, I can definitely see why. Because it's very easy to assume that players will have certain habits or read a level in a given way. And then you give it to a streamer like myself, and I just make a mess of it, and I break everything. And it's a very constructive experience. Okay, 2 more submissions. We're going to do a little more of Just Normal's Super World. Again, we'll try to get through a chunk of it at a time within the first 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to see what we can do to punch Detroit Void's level in the face. Just Normal, if you'd like to confirm that you are still here in the room. Yeah, I'm just asking right now if you would like to check in. And if Just Normal is AFK, he's on a chat list, but if he's AFK, Detroit Void will do yours first. So we'll just give you a moment. And yeah, if Just Normal's not checking in right away, we'll swap the order quickly. And then that would make sense, in fact, to end with a Super World, because then we can have a bit more of a relaxed experience through it. And Ampersand, you have got lots to do today. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Yeah, I certainly will. We're not going to be running super long today, I hope. But we'll look at the Snowy Outback. Roru introduced you to this competition and all the others who judge. I don't know which competition, and you'll have to let me know for some context, I'm sure. I also see that Dario Man, who is also streaming at the same time as the current world record and the only clear. Dario Man, an excellent streamer and a regular friend of this broadcast as well. So let's see the Snowy Outback. And let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so this is going to punch me forward. It's encouraging me to do something with the 50 coin here. We'll see if we can. Maybe if we get a bit of a boost here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, on, off, and P. And we have a couple of coins to collect, 6 coins in total. Also, my sound has died again. Yeah, I just noticed that, Luca. Thank you for letting me know. Let's fix it up very quickly. Oh yes, the There and Back Again competition. I have heard about that. I don't remember the conditions for it exactly, but I do know which contest that is. And that a number of other streamers have been working on it, I think. Audio is still gone. Let me see if I can get it back. This will require more than one reset, I think. The conditions are having to go to one section twice to complete a level. Okay, should be back now. Let's hope that the sound sticks around a bit longer this time. Spirit Wolf, you stepped away to check on your old Chihuahua, which I will imagine as the Spirit Chihuahua. Okay, so one-way panels here are going to block the munchers, but not if you hit these blocks, although that's only going to raise them the first time. There's only one way to go right now, so we'll just do it. And maybe there will be something with an infinite piece, which also, Detroit Void, let me read that whole message. Create a level that requires the player to go from the start of a section, whether it is the main world, subworld, or both, to the end of the section and return to the beginning to make progress in the level. Yeah, I kind of see that with the pink coins that you have currently. I understand that. Luca, is the audio still distorted? Yeah, I'm sorry about all the audio issues we're having. I'm hoping that we can get this cleaned up so it's not all cranky. Sometimes the stream just starts to fall apart on me, which is not great. Alright, audio should be cleaner now. And you named the Chihuahua after a cookie, and she's the one on your Twitch profile. I see. Okay, did we miss the train already? Did we miss a bonsai or something that we were supposed to jump on? I think I did. So let's take a look. We'll jump on this guy, and luckily we did have a reset point there. Notice that if you get on top of the clouds here, it's not too much effort to get back on track. 1-up mushroom, and what does this do? Nothing. Okay, so Thwomp is going to clear the way here and then allow me to hit the POW. The POW gets rid of the Thwomp, and I think there's not much else that will be done there, but we'll see. On-off switch does kill the Thwomp, of course. And let's take a look. Okay, we can go through the pipe though, unless we want to raise this guy first, which we can always do. And we'll see if there's a particular reason that we're doing that. I guess there is going to be a bit of exploration on this level. Okay, Link, great, because Link can break everything. Link can, for instance, bomb all these blocks, but that's okay because you can still make it from seesaw to seesaw. There will eventually be a key exit over here. Okay, here's a POW. And I guess that's what the arrow was trying to tell me. We didn't actually need to hit that, we could have snuck under it. But why would I want to? Now the shell is going to break everything here, but if we bomb some of this out of the way first, maybe I can wear it as a shellmet. We'll see. We're just going to create a passage here. And, oh, there's a key. I guess that was probably what it was supposed to hit. And I'm glad the sound is back to normal, incidentally. So the thing I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to see if I can kick the shell in a way that will allow me to wear it as a helmet. I don't know if I can, because I think positionally I might get into some trouble here, but I might be able to kick it and then hit it back. It's going to fall down this way, though. Tap it. There we go. Great. Now, let's see what we can do with it. Key is going to go over to that door, of course. We'll keep the key in case we can break anything with it. We'll go over here. Oh, no, nothing. Okay. But anyway, having the helmet in tow is probably unexpected behavior, so keep it in case it becomes useful. And we have a recycling checkpoint. One thing to fix, you didn't mean the shellmet to be available. Yeah, I don't know if it'll really break anything, but it's definitely a risk factor if it's something you didn't account for. I mean, the thing about Link is that he breaks stuff like crazy, right? So, like, you can even probably get up here safely without worrying about the saw blade there being any kind of positional control. And Luca, you were telling me the video was freezing. Yeah, we had a little bit of a network lag spike at one point, but it's not something to be too concerned about. Notice that the bombs can also take out these blocks here and drop the munchers. It's probably something you don't intend because the munchers would permanently start to appear in this lower location unless a P-switch is active, and even if we grab the coins, then a P-switch wouldn't block this either. So, for example, if we put bombs down here, the munchers would just get lowered, right? And it would remain that way. And that includes this P-switch activation, by the way, like that you would just straight up break it. So that's something to look at. We can, of course, always get on top of the munchers and jump back out if we lose the shellmet, but we'll respawn in that room and then I will show you what it looks like. Yeah, we had a few video skips earlier, but hopefully that has not been too much of an issue recently. What should you do about this? Possibly some kind of additional semi-solid to brace it. I'm just wondering if that will create any additional issues. Like if you have a semi-solid kind of patching out this whole rectangle here, and it would prevent the munchers from falling. It would not prevent you from destroying the block with the bomb, though. So no matter what, like every block that's kind of within 2 range or something, I mean, every block here, you need to think about potential bomb damage. And you probably don't want anything critical to spawn through that. And Red Knight, welcome. Let's check the yellow pipe just to see what else we're looking at, so we can see what else we can smash up. So yeah, as you can see here, this was probably meant to be an item check, but with the Shelmet in tow, I'm able to keep Link. And that was probably unintended, because you probably want to drop the shell here, too. But this takes you back to the start, there and back again. That allows me to hit checkpoint. Now the thing is, once I hit checkpoint again, a lot of these issues will reset themselves. This also looks like a safety coin. The other thing, too, is that if we have some kind of timed activation on an on-off switch somewhere here, we will be able to make it through, won't we? Let's see if there is an on-off switch anywhere that we can work with. I don't think so. So we'll have to go back to... yes, there is, because we can go back to this room here. Notice that you can also get out of here in the on state with Link. You can do that anyway if you just tap it with a sword, in fact. It would, in this room, just trap you, so it's not a big deal. It just means that you would need the Muncher to get out the top side. And you'll enforce this section here anyway, so that's not too much of a problem. We're going to run out of time on this anyway, so we'll start from checkpoint, and... yeah, all of this is breakable as well. On-off switch is something that you can activate from up top. I don't know if that will affect anything here, given that this is just back to the Thwomp section. If you lose Link at this point, you can no longer activate the on-off switch. That's one thing you have to be aware of, is that you'll be stuck in the on state outside. And, yeah, since we're about to run out of time anyway, let's just jump out and let's see what we can do if we loop back around. Should you fix that on-off switch bit? I mean, I'm going to reveal everything I can, and then we'll see if that informs any fixes. Because, you know, you don't want to fix one thing only to notice that it still breaks another thing. Also, I wonder if... the thing about destroying blocks is that I wonder if that will affect anything with continuing from checkpoint as well, since, of course, when you continue from checkpoint, everything you have destroyed is restored. But we'll try to go back for that Master Sword, if I can remember where it is. We don't have a key, though, so we're locked out of this section here until we loop back around. And we're also back down to 1 coin, because I didn't manage to hit the checkpoint flag before. Oh yes, because we didn't reset the checkpoint on its other side. That's why. Okay, let's see how this was supposed to work. I think this was supposed to activate the P-switch and let me through, right? And that's supposed to block off over there. This was probably supposed to not dunk anything with a shell. Let's see. Does the shell hit anything down there? I can't actually tell. And this over here... yeah, so to prevent the Munchers falling, you would use a semi-solid, but the bomb breaking the P-switch block is going to be a problem, I think, regardless of what you do. Also, if you have the P-switch released, you only have 1 chance to get this coin here. Notice that if you don't get this coin on this attempt, with the P-switch active, then you're actually permanently locked out of it because you don't have anywhere else to activate a P-switch. At least as far as I know. Maybe there's one that drops out of the pipe, maybe there's some other interaction we don't know about yet. Also notice that I wonder if I can actually get to this key door with the previous key. I don't think I can because of the aerial segment before you get to the Thwomps, but it's something to think about. Whether I can sneak the key over. I don't think I can, but we'll see. But I'm a little concerned about this coin being totally inaccessible once you miss your first chance with the P-switch in this section. I think it is a concern. Anyway, let's see what this is all about. This is another Master Sword. We're going to skip it just to see what happens. Notice that Master Sword can always be used to basically take self-damage into any of these bombs. Maybe that's intended behavior, maybe it's not. We'll see. We'll show you what that looks like. Because, whoops, no, hang on. Obviously, I think the idea here is that with either the Master Sword or the Super Mushroom, you can... note those are coin blocks, so you can't just smash them. Never mind. Let's take out the Goomba. And let me just show you what that looks like. That we can just, at any time, blow that up and get another Master Sword back afterwards. And that is going to get me through here. Looks like we do need a bomb in this location as well. We'll blow that up. We'll get another sword to give myself a bit of a safety margin. I don't know if this is the intended solution, given that like self-damage based solutions are sometimes a little bit untidy, I think, or look untidy to players. This is on purpose though. Okay, that's good. Yeah, a lot of players sometimes will take a look at required damage and will think, you know, I don't know if this is what the creator intended, but I think this is relatively clear as the solution here, given that you have access to the sword multiple times, so. Notice that we can shut off the on-off on our way out, can we? Or does that block off? No, it does not. Okay, so we'll come back as Link. So we have the P-Switch coin and we have the safety coin. The P-Switch coin, as we know at this point, is actually inaccessible, so our target should be to get back to a checkpoint so we can refresh the checkpoint if I can. Because we will not have the required P coin here. Notice how I'm locked out now because, again, this coin conceptually doesn't really work if you only have one chance at a P-Switch. You need to have a second chance at a P-Switch somewhere, or this will need to be redesigned. Otherwise, the player is forced to reset. That's what we call an SD lock, where you must take a self-inflicted death in order to progress to the level. And it's going to look a little bit unusual for a contest of this style, I think, where people are going to be expecting standard logic, not troll logic, if you know what I mean. So, I still don't know what this shell here is all about. I don't know what it's doing. But if we can activate an on-off switch and get back up here through that pipe, that would be great. Doesn't look like I'll be able to do it though, so we may just have to take a death somewhere. But the death will get me back to a checkpoint with only one coin, which is part of the issue. That we don't have an easy way back to a second flag, do we? Unless I forgot where that is. Oh, also notice there's another issue here, which is that if you do eventually collect the coins, if you collect them out of order by grabbing the safety coin at the end first and then come back here, you can spend that key on this door and then you'd have to get the other key, which then you would be able to access. Let's see. Should you get rid of the shell? I don't know. You mean the Shelmet? No, by troll logic, I mean you shouldn't be in a situation where you must take a death in order to progress through the level. And I think this is the case with this P-Switch here, with the remaining coin, because there's no way I can get that coin without dying and resetting this P-Switch, because you only get one shot at this P-Switch. A big part of this problem... the shell at the yellow pipe. Oh, you mean the Koopa shell down here, and dunking it into this. Yeah, I think it's not clear to me what this does. I don't know what that accomplishes. Because I can't see what that accomplishes. I don't know where the shell is going. I don't know where that pit is going. So I don't understand what that segment is, and if it is doing anything, I can't see it as the player. So I think the big problem here is that you have the P-Switch only being available once from this block. Because it means that it locks you out of that thing above, and it also means that if you destroy the block using a bomb, you never get the P-Switch at all. So, if you're redesigning this segment, the thing you should redesign is access to the P-Switch. Either, if you know how infinite P-switch triggers work, that's one way to do it. It's more complicated, though, because it does require you to understand, you know, sometimes things like entity logic and sometimes things like how to guarantee that a P-switch will be sustained from one room to the next. I think it's better if you just redesign this so that access to the P-switch is based on some other interaction that allows the P-switch to refresh through something like a pipe or a blaster. Because as long as you only have one P-switch in a block, you're going to have both this problem and the bomb problem at once. And like, the P-switch is really the crux of this whole thing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the clear the way that you intended. I'll take the death here and I will reset back to the checkpoint. So yeah, the thing about the checkpoint here is that you need, unless you're already using the second checkpoint flag for something else, you should have it close by so the player is able to reset this whenever they collect more coins. Otherwise, it defeats the point of having a checkpoint at this location, because you don't actually get to save any of the coins that you collect in a nonlinear order. So we're going to try to clear it from the halfway point, and I will see what I can demonstrate. Yeah, because this is supposed to get you both coins, right? So we need to get this before we fall into the pit. And we'll be up to 4 coins at this location here. Great. And then we'll come back up. And then we'll go back over here. Again, we're locked out of that one. You couldn't get to checkpoint further. Well, do you still have the second flag available, or has it already been used? I actually don't remember if it has already been used, so... Okay, so this is here. We know one of the coins is the safety coin, and we know one of the coins is the one that is above the section where you get the Master Sword, which I think is through the green pipe, but let's check it. No, it's not this pipe. I keep forgetting it's not this pipe. It's the other green pipe once we go through the yellow pipe. I think. I have to remember to navigate my way through this stuff. Okay, so we'll kick the shell out of there. We'll... Yeah, so the way to do it, if you have the second flag available, is to have it right across a pipe from your existing checkpoint, because then you can save whenever you want just by touching both flags. Spirit Wolf requests Toadette for the next attempt, if there is one. So we'll see if we clear it on this run. If we don't, then it's Toadette's turn to put on the Link suit. Okay, there we go. Let's grab another sword. So yeah, if you have a pink coin progress level... If you put the 2 checkpoints right next to each other across a pipe, then it's very clear to the player that you can save whenever you want to preserve the progress that you have with a couple of different coins. And that would probably be the cleanest way to do it. Now, we are going to get through the key door, or at least get to the safety coin this time, but I do want to show off one other thing. Most players will sensibly activate the key immediately to get through the level. I want to show you what happens if you take it back to the other door. Because it will simulate what happens when you collect the safety coin too early and collect some of the other coins afterwards and plug it into the first door that's available after you're already past checkpoint. I want to see if we can still get the key and get out of the level despite that. So we have the key available here. We're going to come through here. We'll pop it in. And we'll try to grab the first key from this section. I should be able to do it just fine. Yeah, because the idea here, I think, is that this shell was supposed to bounce back and forth and then break the blocks, right? And then grab the key from me this way. I think that was the intention. Yeah, so that's what you wanted me to do with it. The main issue was that you would need ground blocks on this column to extend further. Let me show you. So this row that I'm standing on right now, you would actually need the ground blocks to extend all the way to the end here, or at least a little further towards the end here. Because then that would prevent me from breaking the floor under the shell, and it would enforce that shell breaks. The problem with that is that if Link kills the shell by using a bomb, then the shell is no longer available. Now, that's fine, because if you are playing as Link, you can still break your way across. But if you lose access to the Master Sword by taking self-damage, then you can't access the key from that point. So you need to make sure the Master Sword remains available at all times from this point. There needs to be a way to get another one, and not just one. There needs to be a way to ensure that you keep the Master Sword, because the Master Sword, remember, you can always damage yourself out of it using a bomb. So there does need to be a way that you can refresh that somehow. Otherwise, it is possible to break the shell mechanism and make the key completely inaccessible, and that would lock the player out. So a lot of the issues in this level in terms of things breaking are due to items that are only available once, or items spawning from blocks that can be broken, and so that's the thing that you have to keep in mind. With that out of the way, though, we should still be able to make it out of the exit at this point. Spirit Wolf, is my sound a little out of sync again? We're near the end anyway, so I'm just going to play through it. That's okay with you. We'll just play through it. And Zypher, you're going to head to bed? Yeah, have a good night. And once again, congratulations on progressing further with the Pantheon. That was a huge undertaking on your stream. I've been running for quite a while, so good luck with the rest to come. Can I die one time? Do you want me to die in order to spawn at a checkpoint with... I mean, we have to clear, technically. So, do you want me to die so you can see what happens when you spawn at a checkpoint with no coins? Is that the idea? Because then you just need to be able to loop back around to see coin 1, right? We can do that. It's a playtest. We've shown everything up to the clear at this point, so I don't mind doing that. We'll just take the hit quickly. Oh, you can check just by asking. Yeah, no, you'll definitely spawn at a checkpoint with no coins. You just need to make sure coin 1 is reobtainable at this point, because coin 1 was the only one that we had to get up to this location. I don't know if you know the answer to that, whether coin 1 is accessible at this point. Coin 1 was past here though, right? So you would need to get back to the Thwomp section. So maybe you are locked out, in fact. Because if you can't go through the key door, that's past here. Oh no, coin 1 is right here. Okay, so that's fine. No, you're good, I think. You're good. It's still completable from this section, and you would know that anyway, I think, because you would have had to do it for the clear check. Because your clear check would have had to start with 0 coins at this location. Yeah, this is the worst person, Zypher, who just logged off, finished one of the Pantheons tonight. So, problem with another checkpoint is the on-off thing. Okay, so we essentially have to clear. I hope this is okay as the test then. I'm not going to rerun it to get the flag because we basically went to the flag anyway. And this will definitely need a couple of fixes if you want it as the contest submission, so... Detroit Void, I hope that was a useful test. I don't know if there's anything that you want me to check other than that. Once again, remember the on-off can be activated on both sides using Link. Remember that blocks that spawn critical items can always be broken by the bombs, and that Link can always damage himself with the bombs. And that the P-switch needs to remain accessible, or you would be forced to take a death to progress through the level. So those are the main things. Otherwise, I think we were fairly thorough, so that's the purpose of sending it to me. I hope that helps. So, yeah, I mean, you needed a test, we gave you a test, so that's the way we do it. And if you have a future version that you want me to look at in future weeks, do send it along. We'll try to break it all over again. Do you think you should get rid of Link? I think most of the problems are solvable. if you want to keep this as a Link level. If you really have a lot of issues with things continuing to break, then maybe you need a bigger redesign. I think it's possible to make this level work as Link. I don't think that you need to ditch the Master Sword completely, because there are a couple of segments that benefit from it currently. It's just that the things that the Master Sword breaks will need to be redesigned a bit, and you'll need to really think about what the Master Sword is able to do. So, in the first bit, no, I don't really know. The thing is, the fixes that you make are going to have cascading effects across the rest of the level. You're going to have to rethink a lot of things anyway. I'm sure you'll make some decisions about that will evolve as you continue to tweak. So it's very hard for me to say right now, because the level I'm looking at right now is not the one that you'll be working with after a few changes. Chess Bunzo, you just rated me, as we might potentially be finishing, depending on whether the last person in the queue is still here. We might actually just be wrapping up, but we'll give you a shout out anyway, Chess Bunzo, who I understand was doing a Scrabble session earlier today. So we'll see if Just Normal is going to check in. Otherwise, we are actually going to log off in just 1 minute. So give me 1 moment, and we will probably have to take off. Give me 1 second, actually. I need to check something. I will actually have to go anyway, so it doesn't matter that Just Normal took off, because we will have to leave like right away. So give me just 1 moment, and we are going to thank you for watching. Yeah, so thanks Chess Bunzo for coming in at the very end anyway. I am taking off earlier than usual, but we got through the queue, pretty much, and we saw a bit of Just Normal's Super World today anyhow, so hello and goodbye. We will send you off to someone very shortly, so we'll just forward that raid to something else. So thank you for all the levels and all the viewership today, for the raids from both Chess Bunzo and Zypher89 earlier, and for all the new follows. Until next time, we'll probably be off for a couple of days, but we'll be back with more Mario Maker and perhaps other delights. Thank you for all the levels, happy playing, happy making, and we'll see where we're going in just a moment. Probably somebody new, in fact, but we'll find out. Until then, have a great day and fare thee well.